Welcome to Gen X Adulting, and today we have Dan Regan, also known as Dan Regan Comedy on social media. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you for having me. How are you guys?
We're thrilled to have you here. Our first question is always, what year were you born?
I was born in 1971.
So
Hey,
were
that's a good
we.
year. There you go.
That's a great year. You know what I think about those of us that were born in 70, 71, 72? I think we are the quintessential Gen Xers that really experienced the Gen X childhood. Like we are right in the middle. We're not Gen Jones near that end, and we're not the Zennial. We're like, I think we're the heart of it. Maybe 73. I don't know. I feel like we experienced the whole thing.
We're the cream in the Oreo Gen X cookie. Exactly. We're in the middle, which is perfect.
That's funny.
I love that. Exactly. Exactly. Now, where were you born?
I was born in Trenton, New Jersey in
Uh,
1971.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Hamilton, which is Central Jersey. And yes, Central Jersey does exist to all the haters out there. Um, it does exist. Ha- and it's funny because growing up, I have pictures that I've posted before of me with a mullet. And back then, the word mullet didn't exist, at least not to us. So we called it the
Right.
Hamilton. The Hamilton cut is what we called it. Um, and then the
Oh,
mullet
that's
came along,
funny.
that became universal.
So, were all your peers, did you all have the mullet? All the guys?
For the
Yeah, the
most
Hamilton.
part, yeah. For the most part, the thing was, I started growing up. I did a lot of sports, so I was friends with a lot of jocks. But my neighborhood friends who walked to the bus stop with and hung out with on the weekends, they became what you would call burnouts, the heavy metal guys, the rock guys. So of course they all had the
Yeah.
long hair, the metal, and that's where I got my love for heavy metal early on, hanging around with those guys. So yeah, so the guys my close friends had the long hair.
Okay. But like the jocks were more like mullet or the Hamilton cut?
Yeah, not even mullets. They called it, the feathered look, where they just like feathered their hair. They had like the kind of like the preppy. It was like more of like a prep kind of
Yes.
look, like the short hair. Um, and I didn't cut my hair. I mean, I would cut my hair once in a while because I had to, because my grandparents made me. But I didn't chop my hair off. I didn't chop the mullet off until my senior year in high school because I went out and I did the high school play, and it was South Pacific, which is all about Navy in the 1940s. And they said, you got to cut your hair. It's like, all right. So I finally cut my hair after like probably 10 years of growing it long.
Man,
Oh, wow.
that's dedication to your craft right there from an early age that you were willing to cut your hair for the high school play. That's pretty impressive.
So back then, though, in Jersey, did you have like black leather jacket? Was that kind of the style?
Yes, I had the black leather
Yeah.
jacket, the acid wash jeans that were way too tight. And maybe it's a reason why I don't have kids to this day, because those things were tight everywhere. Yeah, so we did the leather jacket, the acid wash jeans, the high top sneaks with the tongues out,
With those
untied, all
bandy
that stuff.
tops. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but let me ask you this. I don't think you guys had tight pants, but not like us. We would have to lay down on our bed and get pliers to zip up the zipper. That's how tight our pants were, and then have our friends hold our hands and heave us back off the bed. And then you didn't sit. Like anywhere you went, you were standing, any party, anything. So I don't know if you guys had to like lay on a bed to get your pants on. I don't
No,
know.
we didn't have to do that. I don't know if you're a Seinfeld fan. I'm a huge Seinfeld fan, and
Yeah.
there's an episode where Kramer where puts on these old jeans that he hasn't worn in years, and it reminded me of what you said. He fell over. He couldn't bend his legs. He couldn't sit. So that
Yeah.
kind of gave me the visual of what
Yes.
you were
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what it was, and we did that barely breathed. I think we would be, lightheaded through most of the party and then throw in alcohol. It was like a whole experience, but okay, so with Hamilton, how far back do the generations go? Like, from your family, was it your great-grandparents that ended up there? Like, why Hamilton for your family?
Well, Trenton back in the day, because I remember my grandmother telling me uh, she grew up in Trenton, and she said the reason why Trenton became the capital of New Jersey, it isn't the Trenton that is today. It was very historic. It had the homes were brand new. Um, she went to Trenton High, which was I think the biggest high school I think at the time in maybe the state. And so they lived in Trenton, and Hamilton is not far from Trenton. So when her and my grandfather met, they settled in Hamilton because they wanted to build a new house, and so they settled in Hamilton. But it wasn't far from Trenton at all, maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. So, but yeah, but the
Oh,
Good
roots are
wow.
suburb.
definitely from Trenton. Yep.
Now, do you know how they met?
I in school, I know in school, my grandfather was in the war. He was a Navy veteran. Um, he fought in World War II. So they met young to the point where when he went away, I think my grandmother was 18 or 19 when he went away to fight in the war. Um, and but I know they met in school. I just don't know their exact, like if they met through friends or something. I should know that. It's been told to me before, but that's one of the stories that lost out of this brain. So,
Do you know when they got married? Like how old they were?
well, my grandmother was born in 1929, and I believe she was 20. So I'm going to say they got married in 1949. I want to think, like right after the
Okay.
war ended, a few years after the war ended.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then what about your grandfather?
He was he was born in 1927. He was 2 years older than my grandmother. Um, he did not. He passed early when I was a senior in high school. Suddenly, it was unexpected. And but I mean, he was a great guy. I could talk about him for hours about the man he was and is still with me today.
He's pretty young
So he would
then.
have been like 22 then, probably, right? If she was 20 when they got married?
Yeah, 22. He went off to the war. I think when he turned 18 or 19, he went right. I think he was. I don't know if he was drafted or he volunteered, but he went off to the war
Mm.
right out of school.
Wow. Okay. And do you know, did your grandmother work like while he was in the war? Do you know what she did?
She did not work when he was in the war. She actually, when he came home, they started a family. She went back to work when all of her kids were grown, and then she worked for 27 years before she retired, and then a year and a half, less than 2 years later, she passed after she retired. Um, which,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
I always tell people that, like, retirement, it's uncanny how many people just check out after, or, pretty quickly after retirement. It's almost like you need something to keep doing after you retire, some kind of, not that she didn't do, but she didn't have that job to go to every day. And she tried to keep active, but she started having some health issues, and yeah, unfortunately, she didn't enjoy her retirement like she should have.
It's funny you say that. That happened to Brian's dad.
Yeah.
He retired at 70 and less than a year later passed away.
And he was ready to travel the country.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
the weirdest
that's a
thing.
Yeah.
shame.
And it's not the first time I've heard that.
No,
Especially from that generation.
Like
He was a little younger, but
yeah,
that
but
generation.
they're working for that moment, and then that
Yeah.
moment
Yeah.
comes, and
Totally
it's
taken
like,
away.
yep.
yeah, it's strange. It really
It,
is. Whereas I think with our generation, we're working full-time jobs, but also doing, especially midlife, we're kind of doing the thing maybe we always wanted to do, or we're going for it finally because we can or whatever. So we're doing other things in addition to our full-time jobs. And so as we age, even if we retire, I feel like we're still going to have that other thing we're doing, if that makes sense. For example, we're doing this podcast, right? And I see us continuing to do this, hopefully. You do comedy. But I don't know if that generation had that other thing. I
No,
think
I
it
think it
was
worked in
it was their
chunks.
job.
Yeah.
And then
right.
that when that ended, there really wasn't anything else.
Yeah, they did. We are fortunate, like you said, to have outlets to do stuff like our passions, our interests. Whereas they worked just to put a roof over our heads, to give us, food, clothes. They didn't have the opportunities that we have. Yeah, it's a shame because I know my grandparents would have enjoyed retirement. They would have loved just traveling, maybe just going down Atlantic City, playing, going to the casino. What they enjoy to do. Go.
Mhm.
They love going to the beach. What we call going to the down shore in Jersey.
Yep.
They would have loved all that, and they were robbed of that. And a lot of my friends, like like their parents obviously were younger than my grandparents. So they had, when I see like my friends' parents enjoying themselves, I'm so happy for them. It also makes me sad that my grandparents couldn't have done that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Totally.
it's definitely such a regret for those of us who have relatives that didn't get to have that experience. Now, your last name's Regan. But I feel like aren't you Italian? Does that come from your grandparents' side?
Yeah, I'm mostly Italian. The Irish uh, the Irish in me is my grandmother. I had a grandmother who was Irish, and my grandfather
Okay.
who married her, um, actually changed his last name to Regan. He had an Italian last name, but he said at the time he felt like back then it was easier for an Irishman to get a job in this country than
Yeah.
an Italian. So, and that's why he switched it to Regan, and I've been a Regan since I was born. So
It's so
I
interesting
should have an
how
Italian last name though. But I should have an Italian last
You're
what
name.
missing your vowel. Maybe you
what
could throw a vowel on there
Yep,
at
yeah.
some point.
exactly.
Regana.
Yeah.
What
Regano.
was it?
It was
Regano.
Racine.
I was
No
close.
kidding.
I was
Wow. Pretty
close.
good.
It was Racine.
Regano.
No, it was
Oh,
Racine
oh,
Oh,
actually.
you had me.
Yeah.
Racine. Okay, that to me, that Racine, like Racine.
Recine.
See, I don't even know if I would equate that to Italian if I saw that. So that's
Yeah,
I
interesting.
think so.
Racine.
Yeah.
yeah. It's not like it's rigatoni where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
Italian. It is kind of like maybe it's Italian adjacent, but so
Yeah.
when I tell people Regan, they say that they're like, you look Italian, you don't even look Irish. And I say, well,
Yeah.
I definitely have Irish blood in me for sure.
I wonder though. I'm from New Jersey, obviously, and we talked about that real quick. But
Hmm.
my cousin married an Italian person guy, and my uncle was against it. He's Irish, and she was Irish, and she met an Italian man, and they got married. But he was pissed. Like
Yeah.
at first, he didn't embrace it at all.
Yeah. Back then it
It's
wasn't,
a Jersey thing.
yeah,
Yep.
wasn't
Yep.
accepted.
Not accepted at all. So yeah, like I didn't understand it growing up, but as I got older and I started hearing stories, I'm like, okay, now I kind of understand why you would do that. So um, yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Well, you have a Italian vibe. There's no question. So even it's Regan, you like everyone would say you seem Italian.
yeah,
So okay, so you're born in Trenton, grew up in Hamilton. And did your grandparents raise you?
yes, yes. My grandparents raised me from I was about a year old when they took me in, and they were. I always called them grandma and grandpop. I never said mom and dad, but they were my parents. Growing up, they were the ones who took me to my baseball games, my basketball games, all my school functions. So back to school, me and grandma would go back to school shopping. So yeah, they were my parents growing up for sure.
Now you said she was basically a stay-at-home mom till her kids were raised. Does that include you? Did she not go to work until she was done raising you?
Now she went back to work when I was a baby. So when I was wasn't old enough to go to school yet, she would have um, like people, family members watch me. I was fortunate because I was the firstborn in my family, the first grandkid. So up until I was 13 years old, I had all my grandparents alive and all of my great grandparents still alive until I was 13, which
Oh
is
wow,
Wow.
that's
yeah,
cool.
that was I always like brag on that because then after that,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it seemed like every year we were losing one after that. But so she had a lot of help with watching me and babysitting for sure.
Yeah, you
That
were lucky.
that
That's
is
cool.
such an
Yeah.
amazingly unique experience. That is really that's a flex.
And you say you made it. You were 13. The first 13 years you had it like that.
I was almost 13. Like so, I'm trying
Yeah.
to think. My great grandmother was the first one to pass out of the grandparents, great grandparents. She passed in 80. Yeah, 82. So I was right around 12. Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
12 or
you were
13.
old enough to remember.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's amazing. Okay, so does that mean you never had the latchkey kid experience?
Uh, I did and I didn't. Like, so when I was old enough to where I could stay on my own, uh, they gave me a key, and they gave me a key to the house, but they went to work, and we were off in like two different counties for the whole day for as far as they knew. They didn't know where we were, to be honest with you. And
Right.
so and that's the way it always was. They didn't think nothing of it. That's why one of the first jokes way back that on social media that kind of went viral was the joke I do where it says, um, "Parents today, text me when you get there. Text me the names of the kids who are there. Text me when you're coming home." Parents in the '80s, bye. And that's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It
and
was
you're
that.
lucky if you
It
got
was.
and you're lucky if you got a buy. Some people didn't even get a buy. So
Yep. Yep. Now, did you have to be home though, that traditional, like when the street lights came on, or was there a certain time where you tracked at least as far as when you needed to be in?
well, dinner usually was around 5:30, so I had to be home for dinner every night. But then I was able to go back
Okay.
out, especially in the summer. But yeah, like I forget what age it was. Up until a certain age, street lights come on, you need to get home. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Right,
Yeah.
right, right. So, like once you hit school and in elementary school, did you have any interests like sports or clubs or art or theater, choir, anything during those young formative years?
In elementary school, I started playing baseball and basketball when I was 5 in leagues. When I got to high school, I played basketball for the freshman team. I stopped baseball for I don't know what reason. I really want to play basketball. By the way, the Knicks hat I love. That is the best right above you.
I just got that actually.
Our
Uh,
older son got that for him.
It's for
that's the
Father's
best.
Day.
Yeah.
That's a great Father's
Yes.
Day gift. Go Knicks.
Yeah.
Um,
He's like, "What do you want?" I was like, "I want a hat." Because honestly, and you can probably relate to this, I wouldn't wear Knicks gear for the last 30 years. They've been somewhat embarrassing, right? So they
yeah,
finally won, which is something I never could you have imagined.
no,
I gave up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
to finally have,
Unfortunately,
like, I will wear a hat.
yeah. It's that's why it felt so good when they won because it was such a
Mhm.
long time. I was 2 when they won their last championship in '73, so
Yeah.
I don't remember that. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Um, but yeah, so I played baseball and basketball. Played basketball in high school, and then my in 10th grade. I don't know if you probably know from being from Jersey. They had this thing in high school called VOTEC, vocational school, where it'd be a
Hmm.
technical school. As a junior, senior, you're able to go to another school, the college by us, and you could do air conditioning, refrigeration, automotive. It trains you to, after you graduate.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
just started, like right maybe a few years before, performing arts school for Tech, and I always wanted to be an actor. So I did that for my junior and senior year. I'd go to school half a day, then I'd go to the college and study theater and my, my 2 years there. So that's what I wanted to do
That's
out of high
awesome.
school.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, so you're basically a baseball kid, elementary through middle school, and then you hit high school, switch over to basketball, and then switched over to theater?
Yeah, because basketball, a problem happened in freshman. I wasn't growing much more. I didn't have the height, and I wasn't. Not that I was horrible. I was never going to make it, and I knew that. So that's when I started hanging out with my buddies, just starting, going to concerts a lot, just kind of not really having like because people would say, "What are you going to do after high school?" I had no idea. But then I'm like, I want to go to acting. And then when this performing arts thing came, I was focused. I'm like, that's all I want to do. When I graduate high school, my grandfather, I remember, he passed my senior, middle of my senior year, he passed. And I remember he sat me down. He says, when you graduate, we may not be able to do it right out of high school, but he was going to enroll me in the performing arts school in Philadelphia, which is kind of like the fame school in New York. And I was,
Yeah.
but after he passed, unfortunately, my grandmother just couldn't do it. So I kind of put that on hold. I didn't. So then I just started working retail out of high school and just did, whatever I could just to pay the bills kind of thing.
How did he pass?
He was he was in Philadelphia during Christmas. He was in the car with our cousin who is younger than him, but they were like best friends. They would do everything together. And he was at a red light. And my grandfather had high blood pressure, and he really didn't talk to the family when he would go to the doctor. Like he would never tell us when something was wrong. But he stopped at a red light, was right in the middle of a conversation, just slumped over. He had an aneurysm, um, and
Oh
that was
my
it.
goodness.
So
Damn.
I remember, I remember when the day before or that day, I was in the kitchen eating lunch because I was on my break from school, go tech, before I went to go tech, and I was eating my lunch, and he was home, and he took a half day or whatever. He was still working, but he took a half a day or whatever he did, and he always said, "See you later." That was his. Instead of saying goodbye, he goes, "See you later." And when he said that, it just, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It sounded a little bit more. It was different. Maybe in my
Mm.
head I made it feel different after the fact. And then went to bed that night, and then woke up to my whole family came over to tell my grandmother because I guess somebody, my cousin who was with him, got in touch with my aunt to let her know first, and then she called the family. Then they all came over together to be supportive for my grandmother because wasn't like he was sick. It wasn't like we had any indication. He
Right.
just went out Christmas shopping and didn't come home.
Oh my
So
goodness. So, how old was he?
so he was so he was born in 27. This was 88, so he was 59.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. He was
yep.
young.
And
And so your grandmother was 57. Oh, she was young.
he when he passed, and it's something I was thinking about. He's 4 years older than me now. I'm 4 years away from
Mhm.
when my grandfather passed, so that's something that I always think about. I know people. I know I do a lot of the Hey Gen X, and I give you bad news. I'm like, have a nice day, how old we are. Um, but
Yeah.
it's stuff that it's stuff that I think about, and I try to make a comedic spin on it. At least I try to. And I know sometimes it's bad news. It's like, oh my god, I don't want to hear that. But
Yeah.
it's stuff I think about all the time. Like we're not getting younger, and we might as well embrace it. So
100%. It's funny
Mhm.
that you say that because I had mentioned to Beth Stevens Bennett Peach, who we had on last week, that we were having you on. She's like, oh, he ruins my day. He reminds me of how old I'm getting. But then
yeah,
she's like, I
she's
love him.
well. That's great. That's great.
It's true though.
Yeah.
It's true. Like, and I had to, and we'll get to the social media, but you are kind of a jump scare, I will say, because I'll just be scrolling along, la di da
Mhm.
di da, and then like you show up, and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna get?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, you never know, or I don't know he's coming. Like it'll be just a video, and then his face shows up. I'm like, oh, here we go.
That's been my experience. You put something up with some girl. She said the most stupid thing. And I'm like, what the? And then you pop up and, and I was like, oh my God.
I
Okay.
love it. I
I
love
feel
it.
sane.
Because you almost have our back. Like we
Yeah.
are all collectively going, what the F? And then you show up, we're like, okay, he's got
Yeah.
this.
You got it.
Was it the one that I
So,
just
but
did? What? Real quick, was it the one where she said, "Girls don't want a nice guy"? That's
yes,
the one I
that was
just
the one I
recently did.
saw. I
I
don't
saw
know if you
one a
saw it.
couple weeks ago.
Okay, it was a
I
couple weeks
can't
ago. Yeah.
remember. I meant to look it up, but
Oh,
yeah.
you know what one I saw this morning was the one about tattooed women.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
guy saying that men don't like tattooed women. You handled that one really well. I love that one.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That was um that was actually a video I did a year ago. And a lot of the times, what I'll do is, if I did a video, sometimes I'll have more to add. And when I did it last year, I only said the quick thing about the Lamborghini, and the bumper stickers.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got a lot more to talk about now because, you know, I, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I get it, and it's a preference. But and I don't have to defend my wife. She could defend herself. But like I said, she has tattoos, and I want to let you know, like, hey, not everyone feels like you, and whatever,
Yes.
whatever issues you're going through or whatever you got going on, and I just want to let you know there's another side of people that appreciate people just for who they are, whether they have tattoos or not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
you know,
I was just going to say, I think it's good because some of these people say it with their full chest. I mean, almost like gospel. And to your point, everyone's entitled to their own preference, their own opinion, but it's when you come out kind of stating it as this is how it should be. And I think that
right.
you're a good counter to that. It's like, okay, calm down. Like, you need to calm down a little bit. Let a Gen Xer like set you straight a little bit. So I think that's kind of how I interpret it.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've always, even in life, I never, I will never say like you need blah 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 to do. It's not my place to tell you what you need to do. If you want to do that and you're not hurting anyone, it's not illegal, go for it. That's fine. I'm gonna agree with it. But the people that I think are the most irksome are the ones that will say like, "This is the way it needs to be. This is what you should be."
Yeah.
No, that's not no,
Yeah.
because that's doesn't go over well. Doesn't go over well with a lot of people. So
Yeah, no, I agree. And I like how you summed up your wife as a Lamborghini, a custom Lamborghini. I was like, I love that. That's awesome. So
yeah,
I thought you handled that one just right. But I was going to ask you, what did your grandfather do for a living?
he was an engineer. Um, he
Okay.
drew up plans. He actually um, we got a deck put on in our backyard. We just had a little concrete porch, like most houses back then. And he designed this
Hmm.
wood deck that um, that was. I wish if I find a picture, I'll send it to you. But he did this
Okay.
also, and even like the even on the post, he did this like design with the wood, the way it would come to a point to the to the point where the guys building it asked him, they're like, "Do you want to design some decks for us?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm too
Wow.
busy."
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that could have been his side gig, but he only did it for our house. Like he drew up the plans. He's like, "Nah, thank you, I appreciate it," but he was so good with drawing. Like he drew this picture of my grandmother, or I'm sorry, he drew a picture for my grandmother when he was in the war. Her nickname, he called her Slim, um, and that's
Mm,
what I call my wife. That's my nickname for my wife, as honor him and
I love
her.
that.
And he drew a picture of Humphrey Bogart for my grandmother, and I don't know where it's at now, but it's just unbelievable. Like freehand, just he was in the war, just like, and he mailed it to her. The guy was just so talented with drawing. So
That's
That's cool.
amazing. Now, did you inherit that talent? Are you artistic in that way?
I am not at all. Um,
Okay.
I my stick figures I think need therapy. So no.
Yeah.
Um,
Listen, that's
no.
our whole family. We have,
I'm the
we
only
have
one with decent handwriting.
Yeah, and you skate by, but
Yeah.
our whole, even our kids, no one. It's the joke that there's no one in our family that can draw for. It's the stick figures. It's the
We all
basics.
write if like a third grade level. I might be fourth or fifth grade,
Yeah, I
but
think I think you're fifth.
Mhm.
You're
yeah.
fifth grade. So, what did your grandmother do for a living when she went back to work?
She went to work for the state. She did accident records. So when there was an accident on the highways and the state police or the cops fill out a report, her office would get it and they would, I guess, file it, um, send it off to the other. She'd have to call. Sometimes she'd have to call state police just to kind of get some background information, but it had to be on record because it was on our highways. If it was on a highway, we
Okay.
the New Jersey Department of Transportation would have to have a record of that. So that's what she did. She was a supervisor. She ended up going. She started just I think as a clerk, and she worked her way up to a supervisor before she retired. So yeah,
That's a good job.
yeah, 27 years. And then
Wow.
when she retired, um, we had a dog, and I had to put the dog. We had to put the dog down after. I mean, dog was pretty. I think our dog Chipper was 16 years old. Um, so when my
Mhm.
grandmother retired, she wanted a certain dog, and so I remember me and her went out. And I bought her this little puppy, and she loved it. And it was her dog for a year and a half, unfortunately. Then she passed after that. So
Did you take the dog?
I did not because at the time I was trying to figure. I was trying to figure. I was going through a divorce. Um,
Mm.
I got divorced like a year prior. So I within a year and a half I got divorced. I had to put my dog down, and then I lost my mother. Well, within about a year and a half.
Oh
So
my goodness.
my head was
Oh
spinning.
my
I,
goodness.
yeah, so I
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so
I got one I want to go back
okay,
to.
okay.
I'm curious what you think of this. The reference to the concrete uh, steps with the deck. I'm curious if that's a Gen X thing or a Jersey thing because I had the same thing, and I can think of at least 3 situations where my parents' house we had that, and they built a deck. And then 2 of my cousins. You think that's because they all the homes back then, at least in Jersey, they had the little entry in the back, and then everybody put decks on. It's like an after the fact.
Yeah, I'm trying to think in Oregon. I don't I feel like there were already decks on a lot of those
I
houses,
don't. That might be a Jersey
That might be a
Gen X
Jersey
thing then.
thing
That could have
where
been.
you start with the I
Yeah,
don't know.
That could have been like you said because maybe when they were building the houses, that was just your prototype, which is front porch, back porch,
yeah,
concrete
yeah,
little porch, and then I know the decks started becoming popular in the early to mid '80s is when the decks started
yeah,
see
yeah.
popping up in the backyards, and yeah, so and it was also because then we were able to put a table out there, chairs. We would go lay out in the
Yep.
summer. It was one of the best things he did for the house, for the home improvement for sure.
Like my parents, you've been on their deck.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
dad was so proud of that
He
deck,
was.
right?
And it was a big deal. It was like we're
Yeah.
gonna go out and sit on the
Him and
yeah,
my uncle
so
built that one day.
yeah, I bet you that was like because I feel like where I grew up, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. When you were in the school play, South Pacific, was that your first time performing in front of anyone?
No, it's the first time I was on. I did because my junior and senior year when I was in vocational school, we would put on plays, we would put on skits. Um, so I don't say I was, used to it, but I did do plays before that. The first ever performance, I've talked about this in the past. The first ever time I did stand up, I was 10, 11 years old. The first time I
Oh
did stand
wow.
up. Yeah, it was impromptu. I
Where?
wasn't okay. So my great grandfather, um, this was probably I was 10. So you're talking 1981. He
Yeah.
belonged to this club in Trenton called the Kent Club. Um, and it was just a like a guys club. They play cards, play horseshoes. You hang out, you drink, whatever. So they were honoring him. I don't even know what it was for. They honored him for something. It was like the big dinner they had for him, and they had a live band. So the band took a break, and I'm looking at the stage with a microphone. Nobody's up there. I don't know what possessed me. It wasn't like I did this before. I jumped up on stage, grabbed the mic, and I started telling jokes. Now, back then, I was 10. The only kind of jokes I knew, my uncle had a Joan Rivers album.
Mm.
I I memorized it from beginning to end. So I ended up doing a Joan Rivers cover of all of her jokes.
No,
Awesome.
that's awesome.
Were
Joan's
they
not the
clean
cleanest.
jokes?
Well, I was to say Joan's not the
No.
Yeah,
cleanest
yeah.
comic in the world. No.
No.
Like for instance, one joke in particular, I said, and I didn't even know what this meant. I said my grandmother is so dumb, she studies for her pap test. I didn't know what a pap test was.
No,
So
That's great
no.
coming from a 10-year-old.
I don't
oh
even
yeah,
think 16-year-old boys back
Yeah.
then knew what that was.
like
Oh my God, that's funny.
so now I got laughs. My grandmother wasn't laughing. My grandfather at
Yeah.
that point, that's when he pulled me off the stage. But that's when I got the taste of making people laugh, and I became addicted to it. So when I was in acting school, I would always write comedy skits. My thing was comedy. I always wanted to do comedy. I mean, I wanted to be an actor, but obviously that didn't pan out. So then we could talk about like how I got into comedy later on. But that was the first. So South Pacific was the first big play. To answer your question, I'm sorry I went off on a tangent. That was the first big
No,
play that
no.
I did. Yeah.
Okay, so as far as wanting to be an actor, did that happen on that stage? Is that when you first were like, okay, I want to perform, or was that even earlier, or did the acting bug come after?
I think that night is when, like I said, I got addicted to people laughing, so I would start telling jokes to people. But that might have been the same night where I'm like, hey, this performing thing is something that I enjoy. Because I want to say I was the cliche quiet kid, um, but I, I'm actually going to do a video about this soon too. I used to have a stuttering issue. I used to stutter when I was a kid. Um,
Mm,
so I went to therapy, and so when kids back then, like I said, I would have made fun of me if I was stuttering. I mean, kids were they were ruthless back then. Um,
Yeah,
yep,
brutal.
so
yep.
yeah, so I didn't talk that much back then when I stuttered. I would just kind of observe people, just watch, and that helped me now later on. Just I guess that I was able to like turn something. I talked about stuttering when I got older. I made jokes about it. Um, so that's when I think that night on that stage is when I first kind of broke out, I guess you could say, and that's when I realized, yeah, this is something I like. This is something I really like. So
How long did the stutter until you got therapy? How long were you living quietly with the stutter?
it wasn't long, thankfully. Prop Even after therapy, it would still come back because my thing was I would start talking before my brain was registering what I was trying to say, and that's so once I got going, like I would stutter just to start a sentence. Like for instance, I would go, hey, but then once I got going, I was fine. So
Okay.
maybe bad for like a year or two, and then after that, I improved it just from the therapy, like making sure I think before you talk, and it kind of on its own not went away, but I was able to like learn how to just not, you know, get overly excited.
So when you went up on stage, had you already dealt with that? Had you gone through therapy and already had your tools on how to cope with it?
So I was 10. That's a good question because I never thought about what the timeline was. I was 10, so that would put me at about that might have been right around the time because I think I did the therapy in like fourth or fifth grade, and I think 10,
Mhm.
11 is fourth or fifth grade, I think.
Around there,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
think
it's
I was right around there. Um, and but it definitely helped my confidence for sure because
yeah.
I did not have a lot of self confidence, honestly, because of that. So that definitely helped.
Understandable, but it must have because next thing you know, you're up on stage.
did
Yeah,
you
So talk about going from quietly observing to I'm performing now. And how cool, and I'm sorry, I
no,
just
it's
gotta
cool.
finish this thought. How cool that your what, your grandma, your grandpa, your great grandpa, or grandfather were there to see your first time doing comedy. That's
yeah,
really cool.
yep. A lot of my family was
Very
there too. Like a lot of my great aunts, great uncles, they were there. You know, a lot of people were there to see my breakout performance of me like just dogging out my grandmother basically in the in the jokes. So
I think that's awesome.
That's
I'm
fun.
sorry, what were you gonna
No,
say?
I'm curious with all that family around, did you ever perform for them, like at the family picnic or whatever on a Sunday afternoon or whatever, right? Because you were younger, you're the oldest, probably, I think you mentioned, and
mhm.
they're all, you have such a big family where they like, little Danny, perform for us, whatever it might be.
It's funny you said Danny because they're the only people that call me Danny. Like if you notice my name
Yeah,
Dan, I
I'm
don't.
sure.
Yep, and no, it's funny they never. We had in our family like my great grandfather who was being honored. He sang barbershop. He was a great barbershop singer.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah, so
wow, very cool.
he would sing at all the gatherings. I was never asked to perform. I don't know if I would have. Probably I would have, but no, I was never. they never like, hey, put on a little, put on a little show or something like that.
Yeah,
So, but I did a
That's
like in like I don't know, fifth, no, sixth or seventh grade. I did a backyard play with a friend of mine who lived nearby. We put on Grease. We just lip synced them. We didn't act. We just lip synced all this. I was Danny. She was Sandy. We did that. Stuff like that. But I never really performed just for my family though.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's a core Gen X performance because I also did that as well. I think a lot of us were doing Grease performances in our childhood
Yeah.
for sure. I
Oh, our
think,
daughter did it.
yeah, even our daughter did, and she's 25, but when she was little,
Yeah.
that's just timeless. But Grease was my first album. I remember I got a
Right.
record player in second grade, and Grease was my first album, and I
Mhm.
still have it. But I played that thing. Oh my God, constant,
Yeah.
constant. And I remember going to the theater and seeing the movie. I vividly remember going, and I that was a life-changing moment, that movie, I think.
Yep. Yep. I saw it too in
It
the
was it
theater.
was
I can't forget. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll never forget it.
it was awesome. So, okay, you do South Pacific. Did you sing?
No, that's I can't draw and I can't sing. And that's the two things I always wish I could do in life. Like even a little bit, like where I'm not like, you know, the paint's not, curling off the wall when I sing. Like just carry a
Yeah.
tune. I couldn't. So it so my senior year, I went to school in my class. He was in my high school. He was in my acting class. His name is Jason Grove. He actually went out to Hollywood and he was a writer for the show Hannibal that was on a few years
Mm,
ago. That was from Silent.
yeah,
Jason really, he's an accomplished. He did a lot of Broadway, a lot of off Broadway. Very accomplished writer. Uh, it's funny in our high school
very
yearbook, we didn't know we were doing this. You could put whatever you want in your high school yearbook. You could talk. So I put see in the movies, Jay, and then he wrote back, Dan, I'll see you on Broadway. So we didn't even know we were doing this with each other. So Jay was the one who told me about South Pacific. He's like, I'm going out for it. Why don't you come out for it? I'm like, I can't sing. He says, well, just so I went out for it, and they gave me one of the leads, which was Captain Brackett. And um, I don't know if you're familiar with the play, but Captain Brackett is the one lead that doesn't sing at all.
well, there you go.
Mm,
It was meant to be. It
Perfect.
was meant to be.
It was
yeah,
Yep.
meant to be.
that's
It was
perfect.
meant to be. So then
Yeah.
when you graduated from high school, I know your grandfather had this plan for you, but that didn't come to fruition. So what did you do after you graduated? Did you do any college, or did you start working, or what were your steps?
Yeah. I started out of high school. I started working at this mortgage company that somebody in the family was able to get me into. Um, Unfortunately, you know, it was a nine to five Monday through Friday, so I had weekends off. But at the time, New Jersey was doing this big like I don't know if they're doing like a mortgage finance like a whole like reset. So they were holding seminars all over the state. So my job was to stuff the envelope or stuff the packets that you would come and sit down to be.
Mm,
That was my job 8 hours a day, and it
yeah,
was a job, but I was bored. Uh,
right.
I'd see my friends were going to college. They were going to parties. I couldn't go to a party because I'd have to be up at 8 o'clock in the morning to go to work. Um, they were
Yeah.
going to school. They would start the classes at 11 noon. So after about a year, I said to my grandmother, I'm like, I want to go back to school. And she's like, well, what are you going to do though? And I said, I want to. So I took communications. I said, all right, that's a very broad thing. It kind of ties into what I want to do. Then when I went back to school, I realized I hate school. I've always hated school. Um, not not to brag, I was never dumb. I'm sure if I applied myself, I could have had good grades. I never made the honor roll. Um, if I got a D, I was happy because I passed. And I know it's not the best attitude to have. Uh, when I got a C, it was like getting an A in school for me.
Yeah.
It was just,
You're
I mean, if I could do it over again, I would definitely would have applied myself a little bit more, but I didn't. So after about a year and a half, I quit school. That's why in some of my videos I'll say, yeah, I had some college, um, which I
right.
did. I had some,
Where
but I
did
didn't
you
graduate.
go?
I went to Mercer County Community College in West Windsor.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
And so you studied communications there for how long?
year and a half, year and a half. I did
Okay.
but the problem was like, you had to take all the other crap, algebra. You had to do
Yeah.
an algebra. You had to,
Yes.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but then, then you did some great classes, which were like media issues, which is one class I loved, or journalism. I enjoyed that. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and then people were telling me, why don't you try doing being a DJ on the radio? You got a radio voice. So I
Yeah.
thought about doing that, but I'm like, I want to be in front of the camera though. Like that was my thing. I want to be out there. So, but yeah.
So when you were going to school, were you still working that 9 to 5 job, or did you quit that to do school?
Now I quit that job, but I still had. I mean, I had a car payment, so uh, I would have to pay for gas. Back then, I'm smoking, so I would pay for my cigarettes. So I would get, I would work at the mall. I have mall jobs. Trying to think what else I did. Yeah, back then when I was going through school, I worked at Tom McCann, Quaker Bridge Mall. I was
Oh,
for Tom
wow.
McCann.
Yeah,
That's
Did
a
you have
blast from
Tom
the
McCann's?
past.
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. They
yeah.
had those gas shoes.
Oh, yeah,
Remember
yeah, yeah,
GASS?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
yep.
You'd scrape
Gas
off
shoes.
the G, so it just said S. Yeah.
You know what you guys had that we didn't is you guys had KB Toys.
I worked at KB Toys.
Yeah, we didn't
Gonna
have
mention
that.
that. Yeah.
We
We also
had
had Blimpie.
yeah, we didn't have
Blimpie.
Blimpie.
Yeah, Blimpie.
No,
I miss
that wasn't on
Blimpie.
the West Coast.
Yeah.
So you were working in the traditional 80s
What
mall.
other stores did you work at? Tom McCann's a legend.
Well, yeah. So I worked at Quaker Ridge Mall was the big mall back then for us. So I worked at Tomic. This is all. Now I'll just tell you the stores I worked at Quaker Ridge Mall. I had a few. Tom McCann. I did Walden Books. I don't know if you're familiar with
Mhm.
Walden
Mhm.
Books.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
totally.
I'm trying to think what else. I did. There was one other store. I can't think of the name, but the last mall job I had was I worked at Chess King.
What
That
is
was
it?
Chess King.
Chess King?
I don't know if I remember that.
Like
What
yeah,
store
like
was
plain.
that? No,
It was a clothing store for all latest fashions. So uh, I that's where I bought not one, two pairs of overall shorts.
oh,
Nice.
wait a minute.
You got to do a video with those on one time.
In
Oh,
Jersey, you
there's
were
a
buying
picture of me in
overalls.
them.
That's awesome.
I had those. They
We're
were
talking
no,
1980s.
I had those, but they were Guess, and I'm a girl.
I've got 3 pairs of overalls.
Not shorts.
No, not shorts. I want to turn them into shorts, but you guys won't let me.
No. I mean, I just can't even picture. I don't remember guys having
I do.
overall. Really, maybe
do.
not on the West Coast then.
We were way cooler.
Maybe it was Jersey.
Here's the thing: guys shouldn't have had overall shorts. That's the thing. They shouldn't have been allowed.
No.
Yeah.
I
But you had
agree.
2 pairs, you said?
2 pairs.
Yeah.
At least two. I'm not saying I didn't have.
Yeah.
I remember two.
I'm dying. Have you ever shared those pictures on social media yet?
No, I've shared. I did one recently of my hairstyles throughout the years, starting young, and I had the bowl cut. Then when I got to the mullet. So maybe I gotta do my fashion. Maybe I'll do my fashion throughout the years if I can dig up. I'll dig up those pictures.
I think
That's
you should.
hilarious.
I think we all had the bowl cut. I had the bowl cut too
Yeah.
as a girl. Like I think now at that time we lived in Northern California, but so I don't know if that was a thing. But the girls had bowl cuts too, just like you guys.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
that's like
It's
our
horrendous.
kindergarten picture. We all with the bowl, straight line.
Horrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
Kindergarten, first grade, the whole thing.
Did you guys have combs in the back of your pockets?
Absolutely.
No, always,
No.
always.
No?
Yep, always.
Oh, he's,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I
Always,
remember that.
always
with the
had to make
guys.
sure.
Home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had the card. Then you had the comb with the big handle, like where it would stick out of
Yes.
your back pocket. Yeah, I even had
Yes.
that one as well. Yep.
I actually have a question. Music. You grew up closer to the boss, Bruce Springsteen, than I did, but There was also Bon Jovi, was a Central Jersey guy, kind of, right? He's from that
Yeah.
Princeton area.
Hmm.
Were you into those guys at all? What was your music?
My
What kind of music were you into?
Well, you said that Grease was your first album that you bought. Um, I know my uncle had Grease. He would buy the Grease albums and stuff. The first ever album that I asked for Christmas was Pink Floyd's The Wall back in '79.
Mm.
That's and I played that thing till I think I wore it out. Um, so I like all kinds of music. To this day, like I could listen if I'm in the mood, I'll listen to R&B. I love R&B, Motown, um, classic rock. But if I had to pick, if they said you can only pick one genre of music the rest of your life, heavy metal, without a doubt.
Mm.
Mm, yeah.
That's what I grew up on. Um,
Did you go to a lot of music? Because I I was in northwestern Jersey. We had music come to New Jersey all the time. Like we're down in Florida now, and it's slim pickings for us. There's acts that come down here, but
Not like up
that
there.
whole New York, New Jersey metro area was phenomenal growing up for live music.
yeah, where um, I grew up in, like I said, Central Jersey. So you had Philadelphia, you have New York, but we always went to Philadelphia Spectrum. I must have seen 50, 60 concerts there growing up at the
Yeah.
Spectrum.
Mm.
Um, and I saw all acts. I saw Ozzy with Metallica when Metallica opened for Ozzy. Um, I saw
Wow.
Genesis, ZZ Top, Motley Crue.
Mhm.
Uh, I saw. Oh boy, you think the overalls was bad? Strap in for this one. I saw Michael Bolton at the Spectrum.
Oh wow.
I don't know if I was still at Spectrum
Did you
then.
see Did you see the Grateful Dead there?
I didn't. I was not. I'm not a Deadhead. Um,
Yeah.
my wife is a huge Deadhead. To the
Is she
point where
really?
she followed them around the early '90s down the East Coast. She would go,
Yeah,
her and her
nice.
friends. They would just pop in a car and they would sell grilled cheese sandwiches, and that's how they would pay for their tickets and pay for their
Yeah.
hotels. Yep, my wife was a
Okay,
big
so
Deadhead.
we're deadheads.
That's
Okay,
what you could show her these tapes.
These
Those are all
tapes,
dead.
I
those are all
will.
bootlegs.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're hard. Yeah, we've seen.
It's the only show I saw at
Yeah,
the
we're
Spectrum
deadheads.
was the Grateful Dead at the Spectrum.
What year was that?
Oh man, it was either 89 or 90. I was going to school in Oregon,
Yeah.
and it was like, all right, I'm going down to the Spectrum. We bought tickets. We paid $65, and at the time I was like, we're getting ripped off, but we got in. And then I left for Oregon like the next day.
Okay. Yeah,
It
that's
was awesome though. The place was shaking. Like
yeah,
they opened the second set. Your wife can appreciate this, but it's Scarlet Begonias into a Fire on the Mountain,
yes.
and the whole freaking place was going nuts, and it was shaking.
Yeah.
wow. And how long did they play for?
There at that show, or
Yeah, just like in general, like
in
a
probably
normal.
2 to 3 hours, 3 hours.
3 hours at
Yeah,
least. Yeah,
Wow.
it's a whole show. It's
yeah.
a whole thing.
It's 18 to probably 20, 22 songs,
Okay,
and then an encore
Oh wow.
you
with
need
an encore.
you need to tell your wife about Billy Strings.
Billy Strings. Okay.
She may know. If
Billy
she's still into
Strings.
the Dead, she probably
She
likes
might
Fish,
know,
maybe.
but no, but it's not Fish.
No,
But
no.
Billy Strings is like the new scene. It's like there's so many dead. We go see Billy Strings. It's like a dead scene. Like tell her there's like the parking lot scene before the show,
Okay.
and
There.
he's like bluegrass.
Billy String.
He
Okay.
shows his sticker. It's like bluegrass jam band, but it's also rock. But the whole vibe inside the show is the closest you're going to get to a Dead show now. You guys should go. She'd
We got
love
to
it.
cut this out. It's blowing the scene up
I know
too much.
we always mention it, but I'm telling you, she would love it. If she's a
Yeah.
Deadhead, she would
No,
love
that's
it. So
yeah.
make-
It's funny. My wife just left, but I'll make sure to tell her because that's one of the things. Like I mean, I give it. My wife is. You think my wife is probably just as sarcastic as me. That's why we get along so good. So purposely, when we first started dating, I said there will be no dead in this car when I'm driving. If you're driving, you control the radio, you can listen to whatever. And I mean, I don't care. but I just did that to kind of like, turn
Yeah.
the screws on or stuff like that. So, um, I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she would, I guarantee she would probably know, what's his name?
Billy Strings.
Billy Strength. I guarantee,
So
I got to ask her what she
think of
knows. So,
think of like the strings on a guitar because he's a
okay.
guitarist, Billy Strings.
Okay.
But yeah, she would love that. So okay, so did you have any other music questions?
No, it's cool. The Spectrum's an awesome place. I went more to like the Garden and the Meadowlands, being on the
Yeah,
northern side, but
sure.
and then
Yeah,
what's it? The Jersey. What's that place on the what the hell is it? The Turnpike or the Parkway?
oh, PNC Bank.
New Jersey.
It used to be
Yeah,
Garden State Arts Center.
Yeah.
yeah.
We saw
We saw Tom Petty
Tom
there.
Petty there.
Yeah,
Tom Petty's good. Did you ever see him?
I wish I did. There's a few bands that I wish, and he's definitely one of them I wish I saw for sure.
Yeah, he put on
he's
quite a
good.
show. He was
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so you did the junior college and you're working at the mall. You stop going to school. Did
Mhm.
you keep working those jobs or did you switch into something else?
I got bored with jobs, kind of like school, so I didn't stay at a job long until like I said, I went to Chess King was the last store I worked at the mall. Then I worked at a place in Princeton Market Fair called Bravo, which is Mexican food, but it was like all fresh.
Mm,
It wasn't like Taco Bell. It was, a family owned it. They only had two locations. One was in Quaker Bridge Mall. The other one was in Princeton Market Fair where I worked. I did that for about little over, probably about a year and a half, and I enjoyed it. But the company folded. Um, so I'm trying to think where I went from there. And then I worked at a store, this electronics store. I don't know if it was around the country. You, being from Jersey, you might know Silo. Back in the day, it was an electronics store.
I think so. Yeah, SILO, right?
Silo. It was Circuit City before Circuit City, basically.
Yeah,
oh, okay,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay.
I worked there, and I got fired because it was commission based, and if you didn't hit your numbers, you got let go. And I was hitting my numbers because I was an aggressive salesman. I would tell people sometimes, don't buy don't buy the expensive TV. For your needs, you need this one, and that's not a good salesman. Um,
Right.
so yeah, but then I did work at the Wiz. I worked at Nobody Beats the Wiz for a while. Then I
The
got a
Oh,
job.
Wiz. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Nobody Beats the Wiz. Remember that?
yeah.
Then my
Yep.
longest job after that I worked from was 5 years at Walmart.
Okay. So
Wow.
what'd you do at Walmart? Were you like a cashier?
I did well since I was working at the Wiz. I left the Wiz to work at Walmart. I didn't get fired from the Wiz. Walmart was hiring, and they were hiring for a little bit more money, so they made me department manager of electronics. That's what I was in nine. That was in the
Oh,
spring of '95. I started at Walmart.
okay. All right. And then electronics. And how long did you work there? 5 years?
Yeah, till about 2000. Yep, about 5 years. Because I know I left Walmart to go work for Coca-Cola because the Coca-Cola rep was, telling me about it, and it was more. I always left for more money. That was usually why I would leave a
Yeah.
job for a better opportunity or more money. So I worked for Coca-Cola for a while. I ended up getting fired from Coca-Cola. Uh,
What were you doing at Coca-Cola?
I was what they called an account manager. So I would go into the stores, I would stock the shelves, and I would write the orders. So if it was like a
Okay.
weekend, I would say, okay, you guys need 3 pallets of Coke, a pallet of Diet Coke. I'd write the order, call it in, and it was commission based as well, but it was also a flat salary. And it wasn't a bad job. I mean, I stayed in shape because I was lugging Coke and pallets and all that stuff. Uh, I lost my job because uh, there was a problem with there was a day off that our boss said it's not mandatory for us to come in as long as your stores are okay with it. And I checked with all my stores and they were okay with it, so I didn't go in. And then happened to be somebody in the store, like a big wig came in. So my boss called me. He's like, "Hey, can you get over there?" And I was down in South Jersey. I said, "No, I can't. I'm off."
Yeah.
HR got involved, and I got fired for insubordination because I said no. So that's how I
Oh
lost
my
the job at Coke.
gosh.
Yeah. Yep. So if anybody from
That's
Coca-Cola
crazy.
is watching, it's not slander. That's exactly what happened. So come at me if you need to.
Well, and that probably was back when things weren't like in emails and text. So it's not like you could have said, look, he said this. It was all probably just told you. You guys don't have to come in if you're right. So you had no way to prove that they said that to you.
It was pagers. We had pagers.
Oh,
And
God.
well, like how we ordered the product, this will tell you how long ago it was. We would have, like, let's say I write an order. Let's say I had 5 pallets of Coke, pallet of Diet Coke, pallet of Sprite. I'd have to go to the payphone in the store, call an automated number through Coca-Cola, and punch in the numbers. So
Wow.
that's how long ago it was.
That's
That's wild.
wild.
I thought you were going to say you faxed it in, but what you're describing
Payphone.
is even a little further out there.
Yep,
Payphone. Wow.
payphone.
So that's like during the 90s, basically. During that time, did you do any comedy or performing, or did you kind of just put that on the back burner while you were working?
No, that was all on the back. I didn't even think about comedy. I was That's when also, and I've talked about this openly. I'll talk about it, whenever. My mental health started to decline. Um, Around 1995, I developed. I mean, I always had it growing up. It was just never prominent. But in 1995, I almost remember the day after Thanksgiving, 1995, I've suffered my first full panic attack. Um,
Mm.
and that was, I had no idea what it was, and I didn't talk about it for a while because you don't talk about that stuff back then. Um,
Yep.
I just dealt with it. So when I was going through that, I finally got therapy. I started, really, opening up about it. Uh, so that was when I was working at Walmart, and no disrespect to Walmart, that's not exactly the best company to work for when you're going through a panic disorder because it the job itself wasn't horrible, but it just it wasn't it didn't help, put it that way, working there. So
Right.
now fast forward to Coca-Cola, when I got fired from Coca-Cola, I was just kind of spinning. I didn't know what to do. I was also going through a divorce. That was when my grandmother, like, I was still working at Coca-Cola when my grandmother passed in '01. She passed in 2001. I lost my job with Coca-Cola that fall. So I was coming off a divorce, coming off my grandmother, and then I also lost my job at Coke. Um, so, and that's when I had to
And then
just
let's
kind
just throw in 9/11 just for fun,
of
right?
exactly,
That's all around
yep,
that same time. Yeah.
which
So
really
that's
that affected me as well too. So,
of course. I mean, because you had three things going on, the perfect storm, and then 9/11's like the cherry on top, because that affected all of us. We were living in Jersey at the time too, but that
okay,
affected all of us. And I know for Brian, being from Jersey, it hit him even more different because New York, the city's your guys' backyard, basically. Like you guys are connected to the city in a different way than the rest of the country.
hmm,
So he was pissed. Like that,
I'm
it was,
still
yeah, it
pissed.
was very personal. But so
yeah,
the mental health of it affected
What a hell of a
everyone.
year.
And then, but you had these three major things going on.
Yeah.
Do you know, because you said you think you had like, was it when you're saying you think you had this when you were young, are you saying basically anxiety?
it was it was diagnosed as anxiety when I was first talking about it in the '90s, but what I had, and I finally found probably the last. When did we meet? What's now 2026? Probably about 9 years ago. I met the therapist that I was I would go to the end of the earth for. This man was the best. Um, my first meeting with him, because I've been through a few therapists. Some were good, some weren't. One in particular, I would go in, and it's funny now. I mean, I mean, you can laugh if you want. Like, I would go in, and he'd say, "Do you have any shows recently?" And I said, "Yeah." "You should do any new material?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was, "Let me hear it." I'm thinking, okay, maybe he wants to see, why I wrote that. We'll dig into that. So I would tell him, he'd start laughing, and he's like, "Okay, what else you got?" And after a few times, I'm like, "Am I just performing for this guy?" And that's kind of how I felt. Like,
Right.
Hmm.
you're not really helping me. You're not telling me like, okay, well, let's talk about why you wrote that. Like, but so I felt like
Right.
I'm like, this guy's getting a free show here. So he was a nice guy, but I'm like, yeah, you're not helping me. So,
Right.
so, so the guy, my therapist who I had, like I said, 9 years ago, my first meeting with him, I sat down, I started talking to him, and he said, after talking, because he did like a brief interview with me on the phone before we met, so he had some basic information on me. But then when we sat down, about halfway through, he says, "Let me ask you something. Your brain never shuts off, does it?" And I said, "No." He said, "Do you think about writing jokes at night? You think about writing?" I said, "Always. My brain doesn't shut." He goes, "That's why you don't have anxiety, you have panic disorder, because your brain is your best friend for what you do, but it's also your worst enemy because you can't just shut it down. You can't just lock it down and relax. You're always it's open basically. It's like a highway." He goes, "It's like, cars are constantly going through." He says, "And what we're going to do is we're going to work on shutting that brain down for you to focus." He diagnosed me within 30 minutes that it took me 20 years that nobody ever caught. And that was like a breakthrough. Like, wow, he's
Wow.
right. Yeah. He was
No
great after that.
kidding. And so
Yeah.
I always see, I thought that I've never heard that described like that and that it's panic disorder. Because when you said your brain doesn't stop, I would have jumped to ADHD.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. But that's a sign of panic
There must be an
disorder,
overlap there.
right? Because I know people that have ADHD, and their brains also don't shut off. Um,
Guy
but
behind you.
he's never had a panic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering, is there crossover? Did he bring up
Whoa.
ADHD too, or was it just panic disorder?
Well, with me, because because this was new to me. Like I think another therapist said you might have panic as well, but I always said I had anxiety. So when he said you have panic disorder, I said, so it's not depression because he goes, well, he goes, did you ever feel like you want to harm yourself? I said, no. I go, I've had days where I didn't want to get out of bed. He goes, well, that's tied into panic because he goes, tell me what you were feeling during that. And what I described to him was, he goes, that's classic panic. He goes, you look it up, you can Google it. It's panic disorder. I would, I try to explain to people what panic disorder is. Think of your biggest fear, whether it's, going on a roller coaster, talking in front of people, whatever it is. Picture you're about to do that every minute of your day. That feeling right before, but it's constant. That's what panic disorder is. You're just afraid to be. You don't even know why you're afraid. You're just afraid. It gives you that fight or flight response, and it's debilitating. Um, and for a long time, I lost a lot of weight. That was the only positive about that. But you
Hmm.
know, it really, when he diagnosed me like that, it opened up my eyes to like, yeah, that's what's going on. It's not
That
depression,
that is
it's not anxiety.
right. And I know what you're talking about because I also don't like roller coasters, and I know what you're saying. That's that feeling in your stomach, that fluttering, that feeling like that, and it can kind of go, at least for me, I should say, is like it's that feeling in the pit of my stomach, and then it can flutter all the way up, and it is like a fight or flight thing, and I can get like clammy hands and almost break out in a cold sweat, but I don't have a panic attack where I feel like I'm frozen. Like I can still function, but inside I'm freaking out over that.
Yeah,
And if I were to go do it, like Brian loves roller coasters, and I know it's been hard for him to understand. If you just do it, you'll have a good time. And I have tried to do it, and I've gotten on the roller coaster, and I'm not having, depending on the roller coaster. But if it's a big one, I'm not having a good time.
Oh, it's fun.
I am freaking out the
hmm
whole time. Just like this, I can't wait for it to be done. And
right.
so it never goes away. And you're saying it's like that panic disorders, you always are kind of feeling that way just going through your normal daily life.
Yeah. So with me, it was especially like I go back to Walmart. That's when this is when it first really affected me. Um, so I would be at work and the wave would, I call it the wave would come over. And
Mm,
the only thing you wanted, at least for me, I needed to get out. Like I needed to walk. So I would walk. And that would help me for a second. That would be like a brief relief. But then it would like, okay, like what if I get another one now where I'm walking? It's these it's just these negative thoughts that, like he said, is the highway of just going through. Um, to the point where I said, you know what? One day I was at work, I was having a really bad one. I said, I gotta go home. I'm not feeling good. I think I'm gonna go home. I'll be good. I'm at my home base. That's my anchor. I got home, and one hit me even harder than when I was at work because just because you're home, that doesn't go away. Maybe for some it did. For me, it did.
right,
Um,
right,
so the and the person I was with at the time was not very sympathetic to my situation. I'm not gonna bash anyone. I'll just leave it at that. That
right,
she was not very helpful. She actually made it worse. And but again, people that don't understand that didn't go through it, that like how many times I heard snap out of it, and I just snap out of it. Think good
right,
thoughts. Go take a shower. I heard go take a shower. I heard go exercise. I heard eat better foods. Go to church. I've heard nothing. Maybe that'll help other people, and that's great if it does. Whatever it takes for you. That was not helping me. And when I met my wife, this is I met my wife in June of 2013, and her birthday is in September. So, and she was turning 40. So, we really hit it off. I knew this. I just had it like, I told people like this is the one. I mean, we just clicked. So for her 40th birthday, I was going to fly her down to Clearwater for a couple of days, just for her and I to get away, Clearwater, Florida. Um, now, to this point, I was on an airplane once before this, for my honeymoon my first marriage, and I had such a panic disorder when we got there that we had to come home early. Like we were there only a day or two,
mm,
and I had to come home early. So I'm thinking, okay, well, it's a long time ago. I'll be able to do this. And I didn't tell my wife what I was going through. I didn't tell her I had panic disorder, nothing like that yet. We were, I think I might have told her I took, like I took therapy and stuff like that, but I didn't tell her my fear of planes or nothing. So
right.
we stayed at the airport. We're flying out of JFK in New York. We got a hotel room that night right by the airport. We go to the airport. I'm feeling a full blown coming on. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? I mean, so JFK has these tram cars that take you from JFK is huge. So we get on the tram car to go to our gate, and it got so bad that when we weren't even at our stop, we had a different stop. I got to get off, and I jumped off the tram. She has her suitcase. She's like, what do you? So luckily she grabbed her suitcase as she got off the thing. She goes, what is? I'm in a cold sweat, and I said, I can't do this. I said, I'm sorry, and I explained to her. She's like, come here, let's sit down, relax, let's just we talked it through. And I said, and then this is why she's the best. She goes, would have been nice if you told me sooner, like that she's busted my balls, which kind of broke the tension. She's like, how about you
Right.
tell me, next time you give me a warning or something. So I ended up getting on the plane. We flew to Clearwater, had the best time, didn't have one panic attack.
Mm,
Because at first I finally felt grounded with someone that gets me, because
yeah.
she has mental health issues as well. So we were able to kind of bounce it off each other a little bit. Uh,
Yeah.
since then,
So-
that was in 2013. I've flown probably 22 times since then. I've been
Wow.
to, I've been to Ireland, been to Florida 3 times, been to Vegas twice. Like now, when I still get on the plane, I get that little like I have my Xanax with me just in case. But for the last
Hmm.
10 trips, I haven't even taken a Xanax, you know, and
How do you
and
deal
that's
with
all.
the landing? Because that's
Landing, I don't like. Takeoffs, I'm fine. I know
yeah,
everybody's different. Some people don't like takeoffs. I don't like the landings. The
yeah, yeah.
landings give me a little, but I get sweaty, I grip, but yeah, landing's a little,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's
Now, has she been with you for all those since 2013 on those 22 flights? Has she been with you?
she's my travel partner. I've been everywhere I go is with her. Yeah,
So she's your anchor.
without a doubt. I always one year I forgot what it was. I gave her a rock, and I said, I go, this is because you're my rock, and like
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but um,
No.
she's like she's taught me so much just to be a better person. Uh, she called me on things that I never even realized I was doing, just in general in life, and she made me be more present. Like when we first met, I was always on my phone with social media and stuff. And one time we were out to eat, and she goes, "Is that more important than me?" I said, "No." She goes, "Then why are you on it?" No, And she didn't say it like confrontational. Like people are like, "Oh, no." The way she put it, she was right. So to this day, I will say to her, like, "You want to take it on my phone real quick?" She's like, "No." And you know,
Right.
but that's out of respect for her, and she was right. We're not. We would love to believe we're always right about stuff. I'm never wrong. That's not. If you're a
I can relate
narcissist,
to that.
you know, yeah, you're never wrong if you're a
Hmm.
narcissist. But we're all
Yep.
wrong. We all. Yeah, she's told me when I've called her on things, she's like, "Thank you." She'll thank me. I thank her. That's what growing is. That's why I know I'm with my person. I'm with the person I was supposed to be with. Because of her.
Right. Because you're growing. I mean, accountability is huge. And, I guess I can say definitely for our generation, Gen X boys receive no attention in general for their emotional development. You guys were expected to not show emotion except anger. That was acceptable and aggression. But I mean, and not that Gen X girls got a lot of attention with it either, but at least like if we cried, depending, we weren't totally ridiculed. But I would say I think a lot of Gen X men then grew up as avoidance and they just didn't know how to, they get overwhelmed dealing with accountability within relationships. So the fact that you are with someone and you guys have that mutual respect and you're able to be open and hear her, what she's saying, and not be immediately defensive. And maybe you were, not that it's perfect, but that you were able to be self aware enough to say, okay, I need to hear what she's saying without immediately feeling like I need to defend myself. That's huge,
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
you know,
Yep.
for a relationship to grow and be strong. How did you guys meet?
We met online. Honestly,
Oh,
we
did you?
yeah. I I was never, and I talk about this in my videos. I was never a club guy. I don't like when I say I don't like going out. I mean, I like going out to dinner, concerts. I was never a club guy. I didn't. I'm not a good dancer. I enjoy the music, but so when I got divorced, um, actually, I've been divorced twice. This is my wife is my third wife. That never revealed that on social media before. So this is the first time I'm saying that. And people might look at me like, "What is wrong with him?" And I'd be the first one to like, "Yeah, 3 times." Um, my wife's family, they
My mom,
thought the same thing.
listen, real quick. My mom has been married and divorced 3 times, so
Okay,
no judgment.
no,
We
that's
do give
great.
her shit though.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's fine because I would be right along with like
Yes.
if I was only married once, I'd be one of those people like, "What is wrong with you? That 3 times, really?" Um, my wife's family admitted to me, at first they're like, "Yeah, when she first told us, I said, I get it. Like, listen, that's that's a normal reaction to that. I'm
Right.
not going to defend like, oh, I'm not going to say, oh, it wasn't my fault. It was 2 times. I was at fault. So were they. Things didn't work out. There was some cheating
Right.
on not on my end. So things happen. So, but
Yep.
I told her I'm glad that happened. Otherwise, we never would have met. So I'm glad
Yeah.
I had to go through all that crap. So yeah, so when I went through my second divorce, I was in my buddy's wedding, and he was marrying a woman who they met online, and they're telling me you got to do this online stuff. And I was with my second wife. Um, over 8, 9 years. So this online dating developed what way right after way after I was. I'm like, I'm not doing this, and I tried
Right.
it. My first night, I almost got scammed. It was a scam. Um, so I was like, yeah, this online stuff's great. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, great. So for about a year, I was off and on the dating sites, and I came across my wife's profile. I read it. I was like, wow, she sounds. So I sent her a message, and we wish we would have screenshot our messages because whatever she sent back to me, I was like, wow, it was different. It was just she gave me snark because I gave her some snark on my message back, and then we went out. We went out the next night, which she's told me that's rare for her. I didn't like doing that either. I like going out. I liked maybe meeting up soon, but this was like the next night,
Yeah,
and
that's early.
yeah, and I think after that, I think we saw each other for like 11 days straight. After that, um, then we took a break. We were like, well, we gotta take a break, so we took like a night break, and then that was it. Within a year, she moved in with me, and then we got married the following year. I just knew this was you. I'm like, why am I going to wait? I knew that this is what I've been waiting for.
When you know, you know. And,
Mhm.
those, just as you said, those past experiences probably also helped you recognize the value in her. When you go through stuff and then you encounter someone like you can see, okay, it clears the way for when you can recognize the person that's for you and the attributes that matter in a person. When you're
Yeah.
young, it's sometimes hard to figure that out, but so yeah, definitely you had to go through all that to find her. So that's awesome. I love that you guys spent 11 days together.
Yeah.
Took a one little break to test it out. We're like, nah,
Now
we got to be together.
Back over here.
I think it was 11. I got to ask her. I think it was 11. It was, but it was definitely more than a week. It was probably a week and a half. I'm saying it probably was 11. Where and then finally we're like, oh, let's just take a break. And then I think we called each other that night, and she's like, I want to see you. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. Like it was like, yeah, this isn't. I
Oh,
don't like this. Yeah, it
that's
was.
awesome.
And one of the things that I always I mean, she's told me a lot, but one of the biggest things that I always try to put myself like when you're in an argument or a disagreement or anything, I always try to put myself in the other person's situation because it's so easy to know my point of view. That's easy. But you try to put yourself in their perspective. Like, how are they seeing you? And like, that helps me. But something I never did that my wife really helped me develop. Um, when she would say to me, you upset me with what you said, I would say, no, I didn't. She goes, don't say no, you didn't. You did. Maybe you didn't, but it affected me. So don't say no, you didn't. I'm not. You don't have to say you're sorry, but just because you didn't think you did doesn't mean it didn't happen. I never thought of it.
Right.
Like that was something that I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like if I tell somebody, you know, that bothered me. Ah, come on, no, it didn't. Ah, come on, I'm joking. All right, you might have been joking, but it still bothered me. Like that's
Yeah.
the kind of stuff that she just opened my eyes to. That just made me a better person. And yeah, like I said, I can make a laundry list of things that she's helped me with, but that was the one that really sticks out with me.
It's so important too because when someone comes to you expressing how they feel, you can't tell someone they're not feeling that way. That's their
Exactly.
experience. I mean, first of all,
Yep.
that's totally gaslighting. But
Yep.
you can try to understand why do you feel that way, and let's hash this out, and then let's see where the misunderstanding was or whatever. But you can't invalidate they're feeling that way. They're their own person, and
Yep.
so but I think some of that's our
I
generation
was about to say that.
because nobody
Yeah.
validated when we were feeling anything. It was, I
No.
mean, I don't know about your experience. Your grandparents might have, I mean, they sound like amazing people, but no one, whenever we tried to, we were either being too dramatic or especially, I mean, for girls, I can tell you, we were told that we're being too dramatic. Everything was belittled. And so you stopped expressing to people how you were feeling. So I
Hmm.
do think some of that, and then we marry each other and we're expected to have these relationships when so we're almost learning
Right.
together, and it's no wonder that there has been divorces because no one prepared us, you know?
Exactly. You're right. No, 100% right. The you know, the whole and I've done a video about this. I do videos about mental illness, but I also say about, you know, men aren't supposed to cry. It's bullshit. Complete bullshit. Um, that's what I was
Yeah.
raised. My grandfather, like I said, you know, Navy veteran, tough guy. I saw him cry once, ever, and that's because um, he lost a chain with the medallion that meant it was sentimental. I think I don't know if his mom gave it to him, but he lost it. And I remember they bought him a new one for Christmas, same exact like a carbon copy of it. And when he opened it up, he kind of paused, took a deep breath, and he started sobbing.
Mm,
I didn't know how to react to that. So this is the man who, and he never said to me, men don't. In his defense, he never said you don't cry. That makes you a wimp. He didn't say that to me. It's just the way he presented himself. So to see this man
right,
cry that I never saw cry before, I didn't know what to do. Like I was sitting there like I felt so uncomfortable. And I don't mean that in a bad way towards him. I didn't know how to react.
right.
You know, that's
Yeah,
why I tell men, listen, if you need to cry, get it out. Talk to somebody. Talk to your I said, and you know what? How about we normalize telling our guy friends we love them and our guy family members we love them? There's
yeah,
there's nothing oh that's not manly. What is manly? Please explain to me what manly is. Because to me, telling somebody you love them, it's not about being a man. It's just about being a human, you know. And that's
yes,
so I try to make it, and I have trouble with this still because, like you said, how we were all brought up, where it's awkward telling a man I love you, you know. But if it's somebody that's in
right.
your life and you cherish them, you I'd rather tell you now and feel awkward than one day not have the opportunity to tell you. That's how I look at it.
100%. No, I agree. I think for a lot of guys in our generation as they've hit midlife, they're either going through this I don't know if it's a healing journey or just like an growth journey or whatever, and experiencing things that they were entitled to experience when they were young but never given the space for it.
Hmm.
And I think there's a section of Gen X men that are doing that and are probably as a result able to still maintain and have successful relationships with their partner. And then I think there's another section of Gen X men that are like, I drank from the water hose, we're tough, we don't need anything, and are not progressing in any way, but their partner is. Because a lot of Gen X women are going through a lot right now. And I think those relationships are on the rocks. That's what I'm seeing. And
Yep,
so I
you're
think
right.
it just depends on how you guys are approaching, because I know how we're approaching midlife. I could write a book about it at this point. How you guys are approaching it is very interesting to me, and I think there's two different
Well,
factions of that.
and just to add to that, when did you have that realization, would you say? Because I can relate to what you're saying, and that I've told her, no, you don't feel that way. I don't do that as much anymore. I'm sure I know I'm not batting 100 there or a
Right.
thousand, but I'm gotten better, right? And I've gotten better with age. And I'm curious if you've experienced the same and if that happened at a certain age. I felt like it's like once you, at 40, I lost my eyesight. At 50, I felt like I got some perspective. And I'm curious if you can relate to that or that timeline.
The first time that she really called me out on the whole, you know, don't tell me no, you're not, was about 5, 6 years ago. I remember the conversation. We were in the kitchen, and I said something to her, and she was, you know, that hurt me. And it was nothing like I didn't say, oh, your cooking sucks or nothing like that. It was nothing like, you know, like it was it was something that to her meant something. To me, I didn't see it as a big deal. I was wrong,
The
and
worst.
and
I've been
and she
there.
told yeah, and she told me she's like, I go no, I didn't. And I said, what are you talking about? I was like, I didn't even mean it. Like she says, well, don't tell me it doesn't, or don't tell me like no, it did, because I wouldn't tell you I'm bothered by it unless it bothered me. So and then she might have even said, I know she said in the past, she might have said it that day, don't invalidate my feelings, you know. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I went, you know what? You're right. And I walked out of the kitchen. I wanted to give her space because I know she was upset. I came back and I said, I'm sorry. I said, you're right. I will try not to say that again. If I don't agree with what you're saying, we could talk about it. But by saying, no, I didn't, that shuts it down. That puts up my defenses, and that's going to put up your defenses. And that's, we're not going to get nothing accomplished that way. So that was about 5, 6 years ago. Like I said, I still remember we were in the kitchen when that happened. And it was, you know, listen, I'm not a relationship expert. I've made a lot of mistakes, um, you know, but this is one of the things that I think really was that pivotal moment where I'm like, okay, I just grew up right there in this relationship, you know, and it took her to kind of
Yeah.
open my eyes about it.
I think it's such a valid perspective and point of just because, and I do think it's something at least women do try to get clear to their partners is just because you don't see it as a big deal doesn't mean it isn't. It is to me, and it's that you need to understand this matters to me. And that just getting that, oh my gosh. Then you can continue to have conversations. Also, you said you left to give her space, but you came back. So avoidance will leave and not come back. They'll just be quiet until things return to normal, not
Right,
knowing, well, the resentment's just building. The
right.
worst thing that can happen is a woman goes quiet. When she doesn't want to talk to you about it anymore, you're
Hmm.
screwed.
Oh yeah.
Done. She's done. But I mean, I think again, you both of you are, and you said you grew up in that like at that moment in that area of your emotional development. I mean, just even talking about it is such a sign that you guys are on a growth
Well, it's a
journey.
learned behavior for us, I think, because it's
Yeah.
not natural. It wasn't necessarily modeled.
Right.
And even if it was, we might have been too just in our own world to recognize it, right? So it something clicks for us if we're on the right track. I think something clicks, and you pause, you hear, and you try to come back around. I know that conversation you're describing we've had, and I fucked it up the first 100 times, and I don't know if I get it right every time still,
But you're a
but
lot
I'm
better.
I know I'm better, right? And it's an interesting dynamic and thing.
No, I
Yeah.
think it's a
Absolutely. I
it's
agree.
it's it's a it's a journey. It's definitely a journey, but I think also we hit a point as women where we're like we're not putting up with certain things anymore. Like we hit this and I'm not going into the next part of my life dealing with the same crap. So you either get it together or we're going to have a problem. So I think it's both parties figuring it out together. But then when you do, oh my god, the relationship is so awesome and so strong and has leveled up into a level that you didn't even know existed. And you truly
Right,
are a team, as you're going into this next phase of life together. So
right.
I love that you even talk about mental health with men, and think and address so many things that aren't spoken about when it comes to men, because there's a wealth of things about for women on social media, but it's a drought for men, at least midlife, on what's going
Hmm.
on with you guys. So the fact that you even broach it is really it's awesome that you're using your platform for that.
Well, thank you. And I know, like, now we're going to talk about social media for a second. So, you know, if you look at all these experts on social media that say this is how you're going to grow your account, you got to stick within your niche. You don't go out of your niche. So if that's the case, then I do comedy. So
Yeah,
technically, I shouldn't be talking about mental health. I should not be talking about anything serious.
right.
And I don't for the most part. For the most part, I would say 98% of my material is trying to make people laugh. But
Yeah.
like June was Men's Mental Health Month. Every year I talk about it because it's important. And listen, if that stunts me from getting followers or whatever, I'm more I'm more focused on just if it helps one person. I know it sounds like a cliche, but
Hmm.
I've had messages. I've had people. Um, I had recently. I had a letter mail because I have a PO box set up where people could send me, if you want to send me something. But I got a letter about 3 weeks ago from a gentleman, and he was going through a tough time. And he told me flat out, you know, you talking about it, it's helped me. And I've had messages like that. That to me means just as much as somebody saying you're hilarious or you're funny, maybe more, because jokes help us get through life. I'm convinced without comedy, we're doomed. But it's the people that tell me what you said about mental health, about men, that's really helped me. That might mean a little bit more to me because to me, you got to have peace. You got to have inner peace. Not to get philosophical,
Yeah.
but you got to have inner peace. And if I'm helping you get there, so be it. Because people have helped me get there. So I'm trying to pay it forward with that as well. So that's why I have to talk about it.
Uh,
Yeah.
I've got a question on that because I do think your answer to this will probably help people. But when you were first diagnosed with the therapist who said this is panic, what was the treatment? What did you do? What was the guidance from him?
He gave me and I wish I knew what it was called, but he gave me like a chart, like a blank piece of paper with boxes, and I'm gonna forget it 'cause it's been so long. But what I would do is he'd say, okay, when you're feeling a panic attack, where are you? And I would write it down. And by writing it, by the way, by just writing in general, you're focusing your brain off of your thoughts, concentrating into just even writing. So that helps. But it'd say, where are you? Um, what's your fear? Okay, then I write out my fear. What do you think the consequences of this, if it happened, would be? Then I write that. So it's a series of questions. And then it go to the next column. And it would say, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you think likely this is going to happen? And you rate it. Now, by the end, first thing it would say is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much panic are you having? That's the first question. So I'd rate 8 or 9, 10. The last question at the last column at the end goes, how's your panic now? And by then, sometimes it's a 4, a 3, because it brought me through a journey of, see, it's not constant. It's in your head, and that's okay. But like you said, your brain is your best friend. It could also be your worst enemy, and that's why I
So
tell
you
people
almost
too.
channel the focus.
Exactly, channel the focus,
Go ahead.
and that's why. And I tell people these these tips have helped me. Not saying they're going to help you. If they don't, I said I'm not a therapist. This has helped me over the years. Um, the hardest thing that I had to do is when I had a panic attack coming on, is embrace it. Instead of, because right away you're like, nope, nope, I don't want it. Nope, I'm not having a panic attack. So the worst thing you could do, you're feeding it. I literally now, when
Right.
I haven't had one in a long time where I had to do this, but I was driving the last time it happened. I've done it in bed, but the last time I was driving, and one was coming on, and I literally out loud, I was by myself, and I said, "My old friend, you came back to visit. Come on, give me a hug. Come on, bring it in, bring it." In. I'm acknowledging it. By
Mm-hmm.
doing that, you're taking away its power because you're acknowledging, "Hey, it's
Right.
there. I'm not ignoring you. Come on in, give me a hug." It's amazing how fast it gets knocked down when you do that.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
scary.
Wow.
It is so scary. It is so hard to do. That's why I tell people if you fail on your first try, your second try, don't get discouraged. Because believe me, I know that's scary to do. But once you do that, it's going to be easier to do. It might not always work, but it will work more than it doesn't. And I've had people message me, I tried your technique. First time in years, I knocked down my panic attack a lot quicker than I did in the past. Thank you so much. And
Wow.
listen, I didn't develop this. It's just something that was taught to me. That's
Mm-hmm.
all. And I'm just happy that people were able to do it as well. Another thing I do, I now this is something that I came up with. I know it sounds. I told my therapist this. He goes, "You mind if I use that?" I'm like, "Go for it. Go, tell your patients." He goes, "That's really good. It's a good way to look at it." He said, So at the time, I think I think I've had it at the time for like 25, almost 25 years. And uh, I first developed real bad panic when I was about 25. And in my head, I went, you know what? I've lived 25 years without you. I'll live 25 years with you because you know what? At the end of the day, I'm 173 and 0 against the panic attack has never beat me, and it never will. It might knock me down, it's never going to beat me. I don't know how I worded it to him, but he goes, that makes a lot of sense. It says, because you know what? You might have a panic attack, but if you wake up the next day, you beat it. So
Yeah.
look at it that way.
Right.
Yep.
It's going to be a hard time,
No,
but you're undefeated. It's never beat you. So that's how you
hmm
got to look at it as well.
it's awesome that you're sharing this, that you share this information because they're such valuable tools and so many people haven't been given those tools and they're just suffering needlessly. So just to even have a few of these coping tools, like,
Hmm.
you've received messages that's life changing for people. And I love how you talked about just embracing it, and you're taking away like that energy that feeds it, right? That fear is such a powerful energy, whereas if you're embracing it, it's almost like light, and
Right.
that's more powerful than fear.
Yep.
That beats fear. So you're winning by taking away the power of the fear, and replacing it with a light almost, which is so much stronger. I can completely visualize what you're saying. That's amazing. That's amazing. Like, I've never even heard of that before. Because you said this happened when you were younger, when you were a child, but was it not as strong, the panic attacks? Was it more just anxiety based, or did you go through these when to that degree when you were a
I
child?
do want to add on to her question real quick. As you were in in therapy, did you try to go down the path of getting to the root?
Mm.
Yeah, I did.
And is it
Um,
kind of in line with where she's going? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So what happened is I just talked about this the other day that about being homesick, and I said I've always was homesick. I made a joke out of it, but it's true. Like if we went, we I remember we went in sixth grade. We went on this school trip to Stokes Forest up in North Jersey.
Mm.
Um,
My God, we
you
did
might
the same thing.
Stokes, yeah. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
you go for 3 days, and I remember I was miserable. I whatever. I cried. I missed my grandmother. I just wanted to go home, you know. And so early on, even when we took a bus trip for a day, I got like, oh no, let's go. We're, like, so yeah. So even as a kid, I had it, uh, but it didn't manifest until that day at Walmart where it just exploded. Uh,
Right.
I think what my therapist were talking about is I have abandonment issues, obviously, because of being raised by my grandparents. Like even when I had friends that would go on vacation just to go away for a week, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna miss them. But I might not even have seen them in that week anyway. But just knowing that they're not there, it's like little things like that. Um,
Yeah.
so it's definitely been with me my whole life, and I think it's like I said, it's just the whole like it's loss. It's just the fear of loss, uh,
Right.
especially relationships. Because when you don't have that dynamic, that family dynamic of mother father, um, some people some people doesn't affect, but me it did, and that's where I think the panic came in, and people could also say maybe that's why I do what I do now for a living. I do comedy because I want that validation from people because I love performing. I enjoy it. I feel awkward though sometimes when I get compliments. So it's not like I'm seeking the admiration because when somebody gives me a compliment, I don't know how to act. Uh, you know, I it's nice to hear. Obviously, I appreciate it, but it's just I'll never get used to it, 100%. You know, um, but yeah, it's been around since I've had this. This disorder's been with me my whole life. I'm sure it has.
That what you described, isn't that the plight of the comic? you enjoy the laughs, but you don't, I don't know, totally celebrate it or something, right?
The adoration makes you uncomfortable.
It does. It always has. Like even now, like I feel even weird talking about this, but it just goes into what you said. I'm People now request my autograph. It's that is so like the first time it happened. I remember I said to my wife, I'm like, "What is this? Like they want my autograph," and I'll never get used to that. I'm so thankful, and I know I've wanted people's autographs, so you know, and I'm appreciative, but I will never ever get used to somebody saying, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" Because I'm just a dork, you know. Like,
Right.
why do you want my
That's
autograph
awesome.
for? So
But it's how you make them feel, and it's how you affect their life, so it's beyond you in a way, if that makes sense. Like what
mhm,
you're putting out there and then how they're receiving it. It's that relationship, so but I understand what you mean. It's and I wonder if it goes back to a self-worth thing, like am I worthy of this, like what. And I think so many of us have that for so many different reasons. The abandonment thing I can relate to big time. um and I've had imposter syndrome, and I think a lot of us have gone through that in different.
mhm.
I don't know about you. But in different times of their lives, sometimes you could use some, like maybe a little bit more imposter syndrome.
The hell are you talking
I'm
about?
just kidding. He
He's
grew up
catch
different. He grew up.
he's catching shrapnel over there.
I know.
Yeah, no
I
shit.
know.
I'm going back on my. I don't
Yeah,
care if
yeah.
you felt it or not. I'm sticking with my.
you're you're reverting
Yeah,
back. No,
that
but
Here we
that
it's
go.
hurts my emotions. Yeah,
he grew up different because he grew up in a very traditional, stable household, but yet,
mom, dad, sister,
yeah, all that.
dog,
Yeah,
But
back porch, the
but
whole thing.
but the emotional development wasn't there, and that's that generational thing. It's not that it was
right.
intentionally done to him, but it's still there was no space for that. So there's, but he also
An
was
evolved
like,
man.
the star quarterback and the star pitcher. So I think for you, at least getting attention, he was used to that growing up, if
I
that
had
makes
no
sense.
shortage of attention, but and wasn't always good. And
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of it. I can relate to what you're saying in terms of I don't accept compliments well. I don't. I'd rather just keep moving. And it's a
yep,
weird thing.
Well, it backfired on you because you would be he got so much attention in sports that people started judging him and putting expectations on him, like the town.
And it zaps the fun. You go from
yeah.
kid having fun to teen with expectations that are where did this come from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you like
it's a lot.
rejected
It's a
it.
lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is. But I mean that whole for you and where you're at in your life, and I think it's again about how you make people feel, and you're almost serving, if that makes sense. You're what you bring to them, it's bringing them happiness, bringing them joy, bringing them distraction for whatever's going on in their life. So that's why they have that feeling back where they want your autograph, or they just want that
Right.
something to connect with you because of how you make them feel, which
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
but I'm
No.
sure
No.
it's
No.
still awkward.
No. No. You're right. You're 100% right. And yeah, it's again. I'm very appreciative. I would never like. I've been recognized. In public, and people say, "Can I get a picture with you?" And it's so. Yeah. I'm not used to that. I will never get used to that. And I remember. I remember when I first told my wife when we first started dating. I said to my wife, "Don't ever tell someone I do comedy." She's like, "Why?" I said, "Just don't." I said, "If I volunteer it, then you could talk. If I bring it up, then you could elaborate whatever you want to do. Don't tell people I do comedy." Okay. So fast forward, we're at our friend's beach house. And she had some people over, and this our friend goes, "Hey, yeah, yeah, Dan does comedy." But fine. So this woman who she had a couple, she goes, "Oh, really? Are you funny?" And I went, depends on who you ask. I get that. I have stocked answers to that. I said, it depends on who you ask, and it depends on the day. So a little while later, she's like, well, tell us a joke, Mr. Funny Man. Like she was getting a little
Mm,
aggressive. And I said, well, a monkey performs for a quarter. Give me a quarter. Like, I was just trying to diffuse it. Um,
yeah.
but my wife, she's Jersey, got that Jersey blood in her. She was shooting daggers at this woman, and I could feel it. And so I went inside. My wife followed me, and she's like, "All right, enough's enough." I said, "Relax. She's just a heckler. I've dealt with hecklers doing stand up. I could handle it." So I went back out, and we're talking about salads or something. And she made a remark, an off-color remark about me liking I don't like carrots in my salad, and she said something, and I go, "And you're single? That's amazing." Like I just said something, and but she laughed. She's like, "Yeah, imagine that," or
Yeah.
something like that, and she laughed. By the end of the night, she's like, "Can we come see you one time? This and that." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, we'll let you know, but whatever." On the drive home, my wife goes, "Now I get it. Now I understand why you said that to me." I said, "Yeah, it's not that I don't want it. It's not that I'm not proud of it, but sometimes when people, it's almost like when you tell someone, 'Hey, I do this.' This is comedy's the only thing where people will challenge you on it. Like if someone goes, 'Hey,
Yeah.
I'm a wood maker.' All right, well, build me a deck." You're not going to say that. You know what I mean? But in comedy, they're like, "All right, well, tell me a joke. Are you funny?" Almost like I'll see if you're funny. And that's why
Yes.
I say that to her. So
That makes such
It's
sense. I've
yeah.
never thought about that before, but it's the only thing that you
That's the
could say,
dynamic. Yeah.
and people feel comfortable challenging you. Because even if you said I sing, I think people would come at it aggressively, like, well, then sing something. They'd be like, oh,
exactly,
could you sing us a song? And it would be nice. But
it
with
would be a
comedy,
nice
you're right.
question.
People are like, yes, yes, exactly. Well, to go back, so after you got fired from Coca-Cola, is that when you started your comedy journey, your comedic journey, or did you take another traditional job, or what did you do next?
Yeah, I took another. I just took some jobs where I could just pay the bills, whatever. And while I was doing that, like I said, I went through my second divorce. Oh, no, I'm sorry, my first divorce. My first divorce, not my second. I went through my first. So many I forget. But there was after I went through my first divorce, uh, I was playing. I would always play rec softball with my friends because I was always play baseball. So we would play rec softball, and afterwards we'd all sit around in the parking lot having a beer, just BSing. And that's when just naturally just talking. I would tell stories or whatever, and I make the guys laugh sometimes. Sometimes I threw out some duds, whatever. And my one close, one of my best friends was like, "Why don't you just go up on a stage and do this already? Just go start telling people jokes. You want to do it, do it." So this was 2003, March of 2003. I went down to the Laugh House in Philadelphia. They had an open mic night on Wednesday nights. I signed up. I had my family showed up, a couple of my friends. I wrote a 5 minute set. They said you get between 3 to 5 minutes. I wrote 5 minutes. I did it in front of the mirror. Um, went up on stage. People were laughing, thankfully. And I get off the stage, and this comedian comes up to me, and he said, "Hey man, that was really good. How long have you been doing comedy?" And I said, "This is my first night on stage." He goes, "You're kidding." I go, "No." I was still green as hell though. Don't think like I was this like cool, you know. I But he goes, "Well, I run this show every Friday night. I'd like you to come out." And so I got booked to my first paid gig the first night I did comedy. Um,
Wow.
which, yeah, it was gas money,
That's cool.
but I was just grateful just to even be asked. Whatever. I would have done
No,
it for free,
it's amazing.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, before you went on stage for the first time, did you have any inklings of a panic attack? Like, did you did you kind of have to balance? Were you nervous
Like stage fright?
that was going to hit you, that the stage fright might trigger a panic attack?
I've been asked this by therapists and people, and it's a cliche for some performers. I feel the most at home on the stage in front of people.
So
Like
interesting.
I could, if somebody said to me right now, "Hey, we need you to get down to Madison Square Garden." Bon Jovi right now is at Madison Square Garden. If somebody said, "Can you do 10 minutes open for Bon Jovi?" Let's go. No, no, no hesitation. I could talk and perform in front of anybody. I've never had a panic attack or even a tinge. It's I get I call it anticipation energy. When I'm going on stage, I want to do well. I want to get my energy, but I never once said I can't do this. I can't go on stage because of my panic. It's the opposite actually. That's what makes me
That's
feel at home.
amazing. That's amazing.
Have you or do you study comics? Like the two that come to mind for me would be like Artie Lang and Chappelle. Right? Chappelle was at the top of the world and he had to just get away. And Artie, such a tragedy. Artie's funny as hell, but he had such a drug addiction and couldn't really deal with the success. So I'm curious if you studied the comics, and I'm sure you're familiar with their stories. And what do you think? You think they're in the same boat where they're like, I'm on stage, this is great, but now that I'm off and people want my autograph and all this, accolades, is where they're imploding.
Like real life is where
Yeah.
they're struggling.
Yeah. Well, I grew up a huge Howard Stern fan.
Mm-hmm.
I started listening to him in high school when he was on WYSP here in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
was on K Rock in New York. Um, so when Artie came on, I mean, who didn't love Artie when he joined the show? He, I I bought his DVD. It's the Whiskey Talking. I saw him perform in the State Theater in New Brunswick. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think Artie is such a natural wit that if somebody's to say what's comedic talent, Artie, Chappelle, those guys are just where comedians aspire to be. Um, but like you asked, I already had a lot of issues. If you read his, because I bought his book. His dad dying really is what messed him up
Yep.
mentally, which got him involved with drugs. So I don't think Artie was ever comfortable in his own skin. Before. I mean, I'm just speculating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chappelle, but Chappelle's a different. Like nobody understood why he left at the time because comedians were like, "You finally got this is what every comedian wants, $50 million
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Comedy Central." But now that you're hearing his stories about like how he was losing who he was, they didn't want him to be somebody else, and the pressure. I get it. I know people like I'll never understand that. Well, but you're not if you're not a comedian or performer, you might not understand where it will play on your mind like maybe I don't even deserve this. And that was I
Yeah.
think a big part with Chappelle as well, I think. So but yeah, it's two of the best and Chappelle has a comeback now. I mean I'm so glad to see where he's at now. Uh, Already I'm rooting for, by the grace of God, he's still with us. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Are
I'm just
there
hoping that he's clean. That's all.
are there any comedians who are like your, not like your muse, but that who motivate you or inspire you, like who you kind of might go to study or watch or just um use for motivation?
Um, my idol, it's hard because I said that growing up, I had two idols, well, three. Um, George Carlin, uh,
Mm.
Joan Rivers, obviously, that was near and dear to my, and
Yeah.
and Eddie Murphy. They
Yeah.
were like my,
Yeah.
you know, as I got older, I became a huge Don Rickles fan. Um, but for me, George Carlin, especially when I started doing comedy, people, the things that I could appreciate as a comedian that people might not, the man did a new hour every year. It takes comedians, at least for me, to write an hour years. That people don't realize how much material that is to do. And not only
Yeah.
did he write it, it was killer every year. Wasn't he just like, "Ah, I'll throw a
It's
hundred, you know,
amazing.
60 minutes of
Yeah.
material out there. And when he did it, it was like he's been talking about it for 20 years. He just memorized it. It was just what the man did was just incredible. And
Yeah.
one of the biggest, one of the highlights of doing comedy when I was on Twitter is after George passed. Um, they started doing this thing with I think it was AI, where they did a complete George Carlin stand up with AI. Muse AI, and the comedian Will Sasso did George's voice. That wasn't AI. It was Will Sasso did George's voice of like an hour set of like what they would think George
Yeah.
would talk about. I didn't like that. I was not a fan of that. Now, if you want to do an impersonation, that's fine. But I think they did more of like this is what I think they might have ran it through an AI generator. So I made a tweet on Twitter and I said, you know, this this is it's not George's soul. It's not his brain. This isn't George Carlin. This is like a knockoff. His daughter reached out. His daughter retweeted it and thanked me, and then messaged me. She says, "Thank you so much." You know, my idol's
Wow.
daughter. I no,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I messaged her after she said. After she, I don't know how it went. I may have messaged her. Either way, we had. She wrote back, "Thank you." Just to have that connection with him. That was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So that was a huge highlight for me to just have some kind of connection with George. That way was awesome.
And
I
you
can't
you
think of a
honored
better
him.
one.
Well, he was brilliant.
hundred
Like the
percent.
man was so freaking smart.
All comedians
You know.
are though, and I think that's the central theme. Like I even threw in, I love Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy,
Yes.
obviously. Red Fox. I used to have
Yep.
my parents had an 8-track of Red Fox, and I'd listen to it as a,
Yeah.
Gen X, and he'd tell his dirty jokes, and I'd be downstairs laughing. I didn't totally know it, but it was some perverted stuff. But
Hmm.
Yeah.
all comedians are smart,
Yeah.
and they're all in touch with another side. Like, right, you're in touch with another side. You've gone through some stuff, right? And you've kind of so you guys are all coming at this from a perspective that I find it fascinating. I love comedians, like more the researching them a little bit to see what makes them tick type of thing, because you guys are all insightful and smart. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. There was the thing that was like a I want to say a realization for me. You know, I used to. I'm not gonna lie. It used to bother me when somebody would say, "Oh, you're not funny." If they commented, it bothered me a little bit. Then one day, I was like, I think it was on YouTube. I was looking at George Carlin or something. Yeah, it had to be George. I was looking at one of his old bits, and I see at the time, this when YouTube had the downvotes. I don't know if they still do that. And there was like 200 thumbs down on his video. And I'm thinking, this is probably one of the greatest comedians of all time. If 200
Hmm.
people don't like him, who the hell am I to be like, oh, you don't think I'm funny? If they don't think George
Right.
Carlin is funny. So take it with a grain of salt. After that
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
it's made me a lot like people are like, oh, you're not funny. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Move on.
Haters are gonna hate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I found trolls, it's typically about they're just projecting their own crap. It really has nothing to do with you. I always say it's none of my business. We laugh when we get
Mhm.
comments. I'll screenshot it and say I find it because it has nothing to do with us. It's just
Right.
them projecting whatever is going on with them. So it's like if you want to expose yourself to the masses, that's fine,
Mhm.
go for it. But that's
Yep.
all that's happening here. I'm
Yeah.
certainly not to acknowledge it in any way. So, okay,
which is the best way to
so
be.
they hire you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying that's the best way to be, like you said. That's a you problem. That's
Yeah,
not a me
absolutely. And I think that's as much as we may all go through self-worth issues or imposter syndrome, and a lot of it's tied to our upbringing. We are Gen X. So even if we're struggling with a little imposter syndrome, we will still put you in your place. And we
problem.
still don't care what you think. Like
No.
like there might be a moment, but overall, we don't care.
We'll rationalize our way through it.
Yeah, we'll just we have had to learn how to not care since we were born. So
Hmm.
we'll be okay. We might have a moment, but we're gonna get
Right.
through this. This isn't knocking us down, So I think you don't understand our generation. Okay, so
Right.
they hire you, um, and now you're working every Friday night at this comedy club, basically.
It wasn't even a comedy club. It was just it was a place that we set up for comedy. Yeah, I did that for a few weeks, and then other opportunities started coming up. I worked for a company where we would write jokes for clients. Clients, like it could be a college professor that wanted to pump up his his class. What do they call that? The lab. So if he had like a whole sheet of what he wants to talk about, but he wanted to make it a little bit more interesting, he gave it to us, and we would write jokes. And if they picked our joke, we would get paid, get commission. Um,
Oh wow, that's
yeah,
interesting.
we did that. I did that for a little while. It was a cool job. We did like radio hosts. I think was it Elvis Duran? I think was one of our clients. Um,
Mm,
we would submit jokes to him, and but then my first big, I want to say break was Laffy Taffy contacted me back when I was on Twitter, and they said we're doing a campaign because I don't know if you're Laffy Taffy does a lot of dad jokes. All their jokes are basically like dad jokes, and they said we're asking a bunch of different comedians to get together or to compete in this. It was during the NCAA tournament to do like a NCAA style dad joke tournament, and people would vote. You submit a joke, people would vote on it, and you get to the next round. So I won the first round. I beat this guy who he had a good dad joke too. The second round, and it's a lot. It's just based on votes. So the guy that they got one up against, he was good. Don't get me wrong, he was good, but he was also ready for Hollywood, and he had a following, whereas I didn't have. I'm not saying I would have beat him anyway. So it was.
right.
I had fun. Got compensated for it. Had a blast. They got in touch with me the next year, and they basically just wanted me to promote it this time, and they compensated me for that. So I was like, okay, this is cool. So
How
fast
how did
forward.
you promote Laffy Taffy? Like, what did you do?
So what I did was they asked me to do like 3 tweets on Twitter. Um, so what I would
Okay.
do is I would say, hey, remember last year when I wrote this joke? Well, it's coming around again this year. So make sure basically just, make sure you, on this date, check Twitter, look up for Laffy Taffy for the dad joke contest. Make sure you vote, stuff like that. Um, but
Okay.
they wanted me to
Okay.
promote it since I
Did you,
was,
just curious, did you deliver the joke like on video or did you just write it and they kind of read it off type of thing?
I just wrote it. I just wrote it.
Okay.
That's all they needed they needed the first year when I was in the contest, they needed 3 jokes. So I submitted 3 jokes, and I had a Zoom call with the company that was representing Laffy Taffy, this PR company, and it was me and 3 other people, and they said, well, give us what you would want for compensation, and I had a number in my head, and they said, okay, well, and I didn't tell them what it was, and they came back with almost triple what I had in my head. So for for
Wow.
for 3 jokes, and I went, "Excuse me," and they said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I think that'll work." Meanwhile, I'm doing, I'm doing, backflips in my head. Um, So that was cool to get. That was my first actual check from a company. I saved it, Laffy Taffy out to me. It was cool. And
That's cool.
Nice.
when I passed the first round, they sent me a picture, a frame of, and they actually put my joke on a Laffy Taffy wrapper. So my joke was on a Laffy
Oh,
Taffy
wow.
wrapper, which is cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you
So
have that framed? That wrapper with the joke?
the joke is, I'll read it. What do you call a spice with some experience? Seasoned salt.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love
So
it. And I
that's
love it that you have that
yeah.
frame.
There it
That's
is.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
love that. What year
I'll
was
prob-
that?
This was uh this was right after COVID, except we had the Zoom calls. So I would say probably 20, maybe 22, 2021, 22, something
Okay.
like
So you'd been doing comedy how long by that point?
that. That was about 8, 9 years at that point. Because I started in 2003.
Okay.
No, wait, no, I'm sorry, 9 years, 19 years, 19 years, 19. I told you I was not good. I was
How
not
do
good at
Wow.
you
school.
what's your process to write a joke? That feels hard to me. Like, a lot of the nighttime guys, whatever, whoever, Howard has a staff of joke writers, right? Kimmel, I think all these guys do. What's that like? That just sit down and try to be funny on paper.
Well, that also I want that I'm going to answer that because you said about do I get inspiration? I don't like to watch a lot of comedians because I don't want their material seeping into my brain because I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I used to be a big advocate on joke theft back because I used to have my jokes stolen from me on Twitter. Um, I had a joke stolen from me from celebrities that on their Facebook pages and stuff like that. And then I realized, listen, like this whole like I did a joke today about the this viral infection that's going around the country with the vegetables, fruit vegetables.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it's gonna be parallel thinking we call it. You're gonna jump on somebody else's joke. You're gonna have the same thought. I was a little overboard with that, a little too sensitive back in the day, and I get it. But if you're gonna take my joke word for word, that's what I have an issue. And like I see like now I have people on TikTok that make up whole accounts with just my videos now. They just post my videos. And I called, I got in touch with TikTok. We don't see nothing wrong with that. Listen, that's part of being, putting yourself out there. I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get why they don't ever resolve those issues because it's completely stealing content and impersonating someone.
Yeah. Like it's one thing if let's say I tell a joke that sounds similar to somebody else's. Again, it happens. But when you're just literally taking my video with my face, with my
Yes,
words, and putting it on your account, how is that allowed? I don't
right.
understand. You know, um,
It's
but like
crazy.
say as like what you said about how do I write? It's just my brain never shuts off. So whatever situation I'm in, I could be at a wedding. I hate to say it. I've been at funerals, and I've been like, how can I make people laugh? And it's that's I const and then back in the day before social media or before smartphones, I would just write down if I had an idea, like on back of a napkin, on an envelope, whatever I could write. So I would have just stuff lying around the house with like ideas, and then I would like, write a joke, and then I would try to put that into a bit to do on stage, and a lot of it bombed, some of it stuck and worked. It all depends. So, um, but I've been like even back before I started doing stand up, I was what I didn't even realize and thinking about writing jokes, like just trying to be funny, just trying to find the funny in things. That's all.
Were you doing stand up during those whole 19, like once you got on the stage the first time, even when you were working for the company, writing jokes for other people and all that, were you still doing regular stand up through that whole period?
Yeah. And which was cool was we used to have contests for that company, and I think whoever got the most jokes commission won. They had a choice to what you would like. Like it could be a like a gift card or something. One of the and I won the contest, and excuse me, and one of the choices was to do have a stand up set at Stand Up New York. I'm like,
Oh,
I
wow.
want I want that done. So it was a Monday night. Me and my wife went up to the city, and I did 10 minutes in front of a crowded Stand Up New York, which was huge.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah. So
10's a
I've been
long time though, right? Does 10 kind of whip through for you, or
well. I've headline shows. The longest I've ever done was I think I did about 35, 40 minutes once. Um,
wow?
and
That's a
to
long
me,
time.
it is. But you're you're working comedians that friends of mine that I have that should have their own Netflix special, in my opinion, that just aren't seen. They pump out an hour, hour and 15 like it's nothing. It's amazing to
Really?
see these. There's so many
Wow.
there's so many talented men and women out there doing comedy that just need that one person to be like, I'm gonna put you on in front of more eyes. And it's a shame that they're not
Yeah.
seen. I've worked with so many talented people. It's amazing.
Now, you've talked about Twitter a lot. Did your social media journey start first with Twitter before Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube? Are you on YouTube too?
Yes. Yep.
So
I'm on YouTube as
before
well.
those four, okay. So before those four, was it just Twitter, or did you start off on everything?
Well, back in the day when I started on Twitter, it was like 2011. I signed up for Twitter. There was only Twitter and Facebook. There was no Instagram. There was no
Right.
TikTok. YouTube wasn't really doing reels. I mean, you could do like I did YouTube videos, but I didn't know what I was doing. Um, so I cut my teeth really with Twitter, and which was great about it was not only was I posting jokes on Twitter, it became a database because they would keep all my stuff. So every year I have jokes for Christmas, for Halloween, New Year's Eve. They're kind of the stock jokes I do every year, even for my videos now. So what I would do is I'd go on Twitter, I would type my name in, I would just write Halloween, and all my Halloween jokes would come up. I would just pick
Mm.
which ones I'm going to use for that day or whatever, which was great. It's like something happened in the algorithm where Twitter's not doing that anymore. It's really frustrating me because I've written, I think the last time I checked, I think I had, and granted, I've repeated a lot of jokes, but it said I wrote over 20,000 jokes, I think, on Twitter. Um,
Wow.
Jeez.
again, one joke I might have written 10 times, so that counts as 10. So I'm not saying,
Right.
but
Still,
as far as
still.
fresh jokes, a few thousand for sure. Um, so I would use Twitter as my basis. Like, all right, let's say like for um, this parasite that's out now with the vegetables. I would type in food poisoning, and I'm like, did I even write a joke about food poisoning? And sure enough, I did. Like I forgot about it, so I would see it, and if it sucked, which most likely it did, I was okay, but I've got a basis for something. Let me work on it, and I would turn it into hopefully a decent joke. So Twitter was definitely very essential with me developing into the social media that we're doing now.
That's amazing. It's like
Yeah.
you were creating a body of work all those years, and well that you could go back, like you're saying, and tap into unknowingly. But
Right.
you were creating something for the future. So then, when did you start making the types of videos that you do now? When was this born?
So this happened 20 around 21, right before Laffy Taffy. I'll never forget this. I was at a show. It was a small show, small venue, and a female comic friend of mine was on the show with me, and she's like, "You got to get on TikTok." I'm like, I'm not dancing. Like at the time, that's what I thought TikTok was. Like she was like,
Yep.
Dan,
Yep.
Dan, she was, this is the way of the future for comedians. I'm telling you. I didn't listen to her, and boy, do I regret it because actually, it might have been before COVID. I'm sorry, it might have been before COVID because because during COVID, that's when a lot of your big TikTok stars blew up because everybody was home. Everybody was just
Yeah.
on their phones. Now, I don't know what would have happened if I would have done it during COVID. Who knows? But she was right because when I started doing the TikToks, I was starting to learn how to do a video, how to edit, and that turned into Instagram because I use Instagram just like everybody else did. We go out to dinner, I'll take a picture of my food and me and my
Yeah.
wife and throw it on Instagram, which was fine.
Right.
But then I
Yeah.
saw like Instagram. I read something where Instagram is starting to want to compete with TikTok with Reels. I said, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's when I started taking my TikToks and posting them to Instagram. And then TikTok started, monetize. You can start monetizing your content. It has to be a minute long, and that's where Twitter came back because I'm like, well, I mean, I got bits I do on stage, but I don't have like tweets are like if you say a tweet, it's 3 seconds. What am I going to do? So
Yeah.
what I did was
Yeah.
I said, okay, for instance, I'm gonna do a whole 1 minute or 1 minute 30-second video on Amazon and my wife. I go to Twitter and I typed in my name, Amazon, and I had probably 20, 30 jokes about Amazon, mostly about my wife with her shopping. I just grabbed about 10, 11 jokes and I just made a minute long video on TikTok and I said, and I titled it The Relationship Between My Wife and Amazon. And I just rattled off my tweets that I wrote over the years. It was a minute, and I got paid for it. I'm like, okay, this could work, and that's what I started doing. Christmas time came, all my Christmas jokes. I did a minute long Christmas video. Boom, started getting monetized. I started putting it towards Instagram, and then the big break on Instagram because I didn't have a lot of followers on Instagram. Uh, this this guy, Paul, he ran an '80s page, '80s forever. It's an Instagram page. Um, he posted one of my jokes as a meme that somebody took and he posted it. And back then I was calling people out for doing that. So I messaged him. I said, hey man, that was my joke. Would you mind giving me credit? Sometimes I wasn't nice, depends on the mood I was in, but luckily I was. I said, hey, just give me credit, help me out. Because at the time he had like 24,000 followers. I had less than 1,000. And he goes, no problem. I'm sorry. I appreciate it. And he credited me. And he goes, it was a funny joke. I'm sorry I did that. And I said, you know what? You're one of the few people that's actually not only responded, it didn't block me. You made it right. Well, fast forward, me and him are now friends, like to the point where he
Oh.
sent me a Christmas gift last year. We talk on the phone. Um, but he goes, and then he started promoting me. He's like, listen, if you like '80s stuff, you gotta follow this guy Dan. This guy is too good, not that whatever. He pumped me up. He goes, well, I'm gonna get you to 10,000 followers. And with his help, I got to 10,000. And I had a couple of reels went viral, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And then the TikTok thing, just the Everclear is what catapulted me into with TikTok. Like I was doing good, but when I started doing those Everclear videos, and it's nothing I started, there were GenX creators on there that did it a year or two before me that would react to people drinking Everclear. It wasn't my thing, but my jokes
Mhm.
were my jokes. Their jokes were theirs. So at least I did my own jokes, and that's what really
Right.
catapulted me with TikTok.
And then what about when did you come up with the idea of Hey Gen X?
Uh, I think the first time was on Twitter, and it was the Kurt Loder. At the time, he was only 76.
Yes.
That's how long I've been doing that joke. He's 81 now. We're
Wow.
doing it for 5 years.
Yes.
But
Yes.
because when I saw that, I was like, you guys, I was like, probably, I'm like, what? He's
Yeah.
76? Holy
Right.
shit. So I went,
I still
I,
am shocked. Every year I get reminded of his age and it's like the first time someone's told me. I'm like,
yeah,
what? But I know that, but I'm still shocked. Do you know who we're talking
I
about?
don't know.
Okay, so on MTV, Kurt Loder did the news.
Oh, the guy with the fro? Like the
No,
white guy
no,
with the
that
curly.
was Goodwin. That was Matt Goodwin, right?
I
I
think it was
think,
Mac.
right?
Yeah, I think it was. Oh
Mark
no, no,
Goodwin,
Mark Goodwin. Mark Goodwin.
Mark
Mark
Goodwin, or yeah, Goodwin, yeah. But no, Kurt Loder would like come in and they'd have the like the news, that old fashioned
Yeah,
news,
yeah, yeah.
and
The
then
ticker thing.
he would be the serious one, and he would read the news like Kurt Cobain died today, stuff like that. He had kind of like a not feathered hair,
Was
but
it black feathered hair in a way?
no, it was like brown
All right, I
hair.
It
don't
was
know
like
who that
like
we're talking
Yeah,
about.
like dark hair. Yeah.
dark hair, but no, but you should look him up. But no, then he's old. I'm 55. I shouldn't say he's old, but I never thought he was that much older than us. Even when I was in 5th grade watching MTV, he didn't seem that much older. But then the person who showed me that he was that much older was you. And it was shocking.
Yeah, like when I saw that, I jumped on Twitter
Oh, yeah.
and I don't know if I'm the one who came up with "Hey Gen X." That's just something that I said, but I want to go, "Hey Gen X," like, hey, my people. Kurt Loder, 76 years old. Have a nice day. Like, and that was my,
Yeah.
it's like in other words, I came in, I gut punched you, and I left, kind of thing.
Yes.
He
Yes.
was born in 1945. I looked him up. I know who you're talking about.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right. He's a young looking dude.
He looked
Yeah.
young when we were young.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's the gut punch. That's what that "Hey Gen X" thing is.
Yep.
Sometimes I see you and I like it, but I'm not in the mood, so I keep scrolling. I'm like I always give you the like, but I'm like I'm
I
not in the
appreciate
mood
it.
today, Dan.
Well,
How's that for feedback?
But, yeah, but I'm being honest. But then sometimes I'll hang in there and be like, "What? What do you have to tell me today, Dan?" So,
well, it's funny.
but that was
It
your first one, was Kurt Loder. That's funny.
was Kurt Loder, and uh, then the big one that got me, that my first viral video. I think my first viral video on TikTok was, if you and I did this on Twitter, and this was big on Twitter. If you see someone over 40 out past 9 p.m., they definitely took a nap earlier in the day. That was the
Yeah.
big joke that kind of got me some followers. But the second big one after Kurt Loder, which is I think even more shocking, was the Wilford Brimley one from Cocoon.
Yes, because he was like, what was he
49,
Cocoon, like 46, 49?
49 when
Yes,
he started filming Cocoon.
yeah.
And
Do you know who we're talking?
Oh, I love Wilford Brimley.
But
But you're saying I thought he was 99 when
when
we
he
were
right,
10.
but when he was filming Cocoon, that movie Cocoon, if you
Yeah,
remember, he was
That's
49.
crazy.
Yeah.
Do you ever do bits then? Like, you see those memes of the Golden Girls or like Alice Brady or not Alice from the Brady Bunch where they're like 35, but they look like they're
You've talked
85.
about that. I feel like you've talked about the Golden Girls.
I've never talked about the Golden Girls. That's the one I never touched on
Oh,
yet. I should.
okay.
There's if you go on my TikTok, I have a playlist, a Hey Gen X playlist. I've got like
All right.
40 videos. Um, and it's some of them are like, I'll say to my wife, I'm like, hey, is this one shocking? So I bounce everything off her. And like the one, it's like, hey, the baby that Madonna kept in Papa Don't Preach is going to be 40 years old this year. Have a nice day. It's like wow. The baby
Yes.
ones always get people. Like the baby Look Who's Talking
Yes.
is going to be 40 at the end of the year. Stuff like that. It's like the babies is what always gets us. So
Well,
Have you,
like even Michael Jackson's daughter, I think it is, right? I don't know where.
oh yeah, she's like Kai's age.
Yeah,
She's like
it's
25. Yeah.
wild.
Have you ever
yep,
done the Friends baby, the Ross and Rachel's baby? Because
I
I saw
did.
that recently.
Yeah, I think he graduated college. I think that was at it. Like
Something.
the baby and the friends graduated
She,
college,
yeah,
or was it even?
something like that.
Yeah,
She's like an adult now, and
yeah.
it was because 1994 when Friends premiered. I still think like 30 years ago was like I don't know.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it's still so 1994 doesn't seem that long ago to me. It's like, well, that was just like what, 10 years ago?
Well,
Exactly.
the picture Nathan sent us, right? Is that Harry Potter cast?
No, that was Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. All right.
Our older son's a big Lord of the Rings fan, and so there's a meme where it's the Hobbit, the actors as hobbits when Lord of the Rings was
And
made.
they're kids.
And yeah, they're young.
Yep.
They're not, kids, but they're young. And then now, and they're like, they look like us, like they look older people, you know.
Yeah.
And it was, wow. Have you seen it?
I think I've seen. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen something about that. I
Like the
remember Lord of
Hobbit.
the Rings. Yeah. That's yeah. It's it's one of those things where it's like you don't want to hear it, but at the same time, I'm hope I'm hoping it's entertaining. But it's like because people I've had people say when I see your face pop up with Hate Gen X, I just want to punch you, but
Yeah.
in a friendly way. I'm like, hope I don't know how you
Yeah,
punch
yeah.
somebody in a friendly way, but you know, and that's what I said. Like, I don't want see for when I was doing the Everclear videos for a while, that's all people wanted. Like to this day, people are like, hey, you're the Everclear guy. Well, I still want to be known as the Everclear guy because I feel like
Right.
I can give you more than that. I
Right.
appreciate it. Like that's why I said I got a bulk of my followers from Everclear, so Everclear's treated me good. But uh,
Yes.
I just hope I don't ever get to a million because I already said if I ever get to a million followers, I'll drink Everclear on video for
Oh,
everybody.
I think you're going to. So when was the last time you drank Everclear?
19 86 or 87. It's been a
So
while.
what was that, like
That's
10th,
hilarious.
10th grade? Was that 10th or 11th grade for us? Because we're all the same age.
That would have been
87,
great.
87. I was
We
16.
grad
That would have been 10th grade. 10th grade.
10th grade because we
Yep.
graduated 89.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 10th grade.
You've not done like Jello shots with Everclear since then?
Yeah. Won't touch it
Yeah.
because
You're a
I
lucky
had
man.
I hate to
yeah
say, I hate to break it to you, you will be drinking Everclear. It's gonna happen. You know that.
Maybe
yeah.
soon be so you can handle it.
Oh,
Well,
he will. I don't doubt that for a minute.
the thing is, my drink of choice is I like my James. I'm a Jameson drinker, which
Yeah.
I understand. Listen, it's not Everclear, but I I even thought about this. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do it. So should I train for it basically and drink something stronger than Jameson? I'm like, no, you know what? No, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna give everybody else. I already said I will do one shot, no chaser, and I will make sure I crack the bottle. There will be no cuts in the video, so nobody can accuse me that it's water.
Mhm.
I will hold it, crack it, pour it all in one. I'll use, use one of my shot glasses and I'll down it. And I'm going to tell everybody, don't expect no reaction. There's going to be a reaction. There's going to be a reaction to it. I already told my doctor. My doctor already said, I'm going to go to my doctor first. I'm going to say, can I drink this and will I survive this? I want to get his opinion
Yeah.
on it. So I'm going to do that soon. Actually, I said to him like, I don't have to include you with it, but he's great. He goes, no, I'll be in your video. So, but yeah, I'm going to do
I
one
think
shot.
that's good.
Be so funny having him
That's
there in his medical
smart.
coat.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding. Have him in. So wait, the question though is your wife going to be there to say there it is? Who's going to say there it is? I think your wife should say there it is.
Well, she'll probably do it, but my plan is that I'm going to do a reaction video on my video afterwards.
Ah,
So
brilliant.
that's what I'm
Brilliant.
going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to do a reaction
Okay.
on my.
Can you shoot it there?
Can we? You mean like can
Yeah, I wonder. It feels like it'd put a hole in your stomach.
that's what he does is people do it on social media and then he reacts to them doing it. They're taking shots.
Yeah,
Although
that's crazy.
some people mix it on some of your videos I've seen, they mix it with stuff. Like one guy recently mixed it with like pink Nesquik type stuff, like
That was
strawberry
that
Nesquik type
that was
stuff.
yesterday's video. He did. I think it's
Yeah.
moonshine, like Old Smokies moonshine, but I'm like that looks like Nestle
Mhm.
Quick to me. So you put that in
Yeah.
with some Mountain Dew, which is I'm sorry, people are defending
Yes.
Mountain Dew is disgusting. Okay, I will die on that hill.
Yeah, it's so gross.
I can't stand
Yeah.
So gross.
my buddy loves Mountain Dew. Whenever we go out after a game, like go to Taco Bell, he'd go large Mountain Dew, no ice. I'm like, you're disgusting. But
Oh God.
ugh. But
That's
yeah,
No.
bad.
so people will mix it, but uh the whole thing is like I've talked about like you're like, well, why are you so why do you hate it so much? I'm like, I don't hate it. It's just, if you've had it, you understand my reaction to it. It's not good.
Yes.
And people are like,
No.
if people,
Yes.
see, the thing is, like, I've talked about my experience with it. I was at a house party at my friend's house. A couple people were there. Somebody brings over a bottle of 190 Everclear. And at this point, we heard stories about this legend. I heard all the stories. They crack it. My buddy swigs it, runs to the sink and spits it out. We're cracking up. So it starts getting passed down. Everyone, no one can keep it down. Maybe somebody did, but it gets to me. Now, I'm 15 at the time, I believe. I get it. I swing it. As soon as it hits me, you can feel that burn. And I went, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
I ran to the sink like it was a trough because there was like three of us standing there. Spit it out. But then after that, they would have parties when you would do like, we called it hooch. You put Everclear with Hawaiian Punch, and we would mix it.
Oh, yes. Yes, like a jungle juice type
Remember
thing.
Hawaiian Punch? Do they still sell that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, they do. I loved Hawaiian Punch. So they would do the
Oh,
hooch.
yeah. It's a big can. You pop it
Yep.
and shit.
Yeah, but now you can get like other ways, not just that old fashioned can.
That can was the best. That opener with the two triangles you put on both sides, so
Yes.
it would breathe on one side. Yep. So
totally.
but the hooch, we would drink that, and you would. I mean, we're kids, so one cup of that, and you'd get twisted on one cup. So, like,
Yes.
the whole and I've talked to other Gen X creators that said it. Like, we're dying in a field somewhere. That was true because where I
Yes.
lived, there was a little league field right down the street from us, and that's where we'd always go. We'd smoke weed, we would drink, and one night, this isn't an Everclear story. This is another story. One night, my buddy calls me up. He says, "Let's go down the park." Go down the park. We're 16 at the time. It was me, him, the three of us. He swiped a bottle of Jack Daniels from his dad's liquor cabinet. Okay.
Jeez.
Full bottle, cracked it, and we just hung out. And throughout the night, the three of us killed it.
Three?
The three of
Only
us.
three of you drank a bottle? Oh
Three
my
of us.
God.
I don't remember getting home. What happened was my buddies carried me home, left me on my front. So I woke up on my front porch on my back. I remember waking up and all I see is stars and the trees. And I'm like, what the hell? How'd I get here? And I go inside and I said to them the next day, I said, why would you bring me home when my grandparents are home? Like, thank God they didn't come out and see me. And
Yeah.
I've never had Jack Daniels since that day. Never touched it after that.
Oh, really? So no Jack Daniels, no Everclear.
It's funny. I think we all have stories like that where we've parted ways with some bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Peach schnapps. Peach schnapps.
That sounds nasty.
Oh, I had my moment in high school, and actually Jose Cuervo. Like, I'll drink tequila, but I will not drink Jose Cuervo. I don't know what it was about. At least I don't know for you guys.
That was the tequila.
Yeah. We all drank Jose Cuervo, and one night that was it.
I wouldn't do Boone's Farm.
I don't know. I'd like to taste some Boone's. Do they even make Boone's Farm still?
I bet they do, but
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen Boone's Farm.
I was going to ask you, how about Bartles and James, the wine coolers?
Bartles and James.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love
to
have a
Do they still make that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Or Zima.
Nope. Did you ever? You were. We had the party balls. I'm sure you. Did you have the party balls? Those were the best, right?
Just talked about that 2 weeks ago. I said how I was going to a kegger one night, and I said honorable mention to the party balls because love the party balls as well. But Zima was that our generation's White Claw. Zima for sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think it was the beginning of the seltzer concept for sure. They're good. How did we get kegs so easily? Like I don't know about you guys. My group got kegs.
We did party balls.
Easily.
We had the party balls but there was always someone with an older brother.
Yeah, I guess that's it. because there would
It
just
was this.
always be a keg.
It was the same way we got M80 so easily. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
M80. Yes. I can still taste the flavor of that.
Yep.
So, but real quick.
What the M80 is? You're talking about fireworks, aren't you?
Oh, wait.
Yes.
No, I'm thinking of what's the drink? No,
Oh,
there's a
oh,
drink.
Mad Dog. You're
M
thinking Mad Dog 2020.
Mad Dog,
Uh,
Mad Dog. Yes, yes, that.
when I was
I
M80.
younger,
knew there was a number there.
we'd go into Chinatown in New York and buy fireworks,
Mhm.
and then go back home and either sell them or light them. But
Yep.
you're right. How the hell did you get M80s so easily? I don't know. Older brothers,
Yeah, we basically had access to dynamite. Like, this is like insane.
basically.
It's so
We'd
true.
put them in mailboxes, light them, and run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We would.
yeah. Gen X days.
What we would do is we would put them. My friend, we would put them in a bucket of water, and we put them, like, I forget how we were able to, like, we would put it on a piece of wood. So, and we just watched the bucket of water explode. Like, that was like our entertainment.
Yeah.
You know?
We'd throw them in the water. We used to have this spot where there was full of sunfish where we'd fish. You'd light the M80 and throw it in the water. Then you'd see the fish kind of float up.
Oh my
And you
It's
just,
kind of
see, you get
and just stay,
canceled
you just stand out there with your net and just catch all the fish flying.
now.
pretty
The
much.
dead
Yeah.
fish. So I wanted to ask you, on your reaction videos, have you ever had anyone come back at you that you've reacted to?
One, and not that they came back at me. Like I told you guys before we went on the air that I'm going to be doing an Everclear reaction video later tonight, and I was tagged in it a lot. Well, and people tag me in Everclear videos. They'll tag me in like Mad Dog 2020 videos and stuff like that. Well, like about a week or two ago, I started getting tagged in this video. But when you get tagged in a video, you go to your notification, it'll show you the video that you're tagged in. You can click it and see what it is. Well, this particular video, you just see a black screen with like a projector, which means the person blocked you. You can't see it. I was getting tagged in this video a lot, and I'm like, what video are they tagging me? Because I can't see it. So finally, I asked one of my followers sent it to me in a message. They actually sent me the message, and it was blocked again. I go, what video is this? I can't see it. Who's the creator? And it was a guy who I did a reaction on an Everclear video a couple months ago, and he must have not liked it and blocked me.
Oh, okay.
So I did a
Okay.
video. After that, I did a video, and I said, everyone, please stop tagging me in this creator's video. And I put his name on there. I said, he blocked me. He obviously does not want me to, which I respect. So please, but people are
Yeah.
still tagging me in it, so.
Yeah. That's actually
That's
not
interesting.
bad though, considering how many reaction videos you've done. That's really
have
the
one.
only thing, to have that one instance. That's actually not bad.
The one guy I remember, and I've had some of the people in the videos start following me. They've reached out. Some people thanked me, like, thank you so much. Like, people make videos now where they literally will say my name in the video, like, Dan, this is for you. I hope you see it. The one
Yeah.
kid he did 3 separate videos, 3 attempts at Everclear. And after his first one, he messaged me on Instagram. He goes, come on, you got to give me a little bit of credit, but he was a good sport about it. So then I made a video about that. I thanked him, and so I respect that, and
Yeah.
I'm waiting for somebody to do like a me reaction to one of my stupid videos. Like, hey, you ever gonna smile there, Derek Grumpy, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd get a kick out of it. Like, I'm waiting for somebody just to kind of mock me. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten anyone coming back at you for your duet videos where you duet someone to set them straight or react to their ridiculous video that they're making? Has anyone come back at you about that?
Not the person in the video, but I've had recently. I did a video about this couple that was a young couple getting married, and they have and the rules that they're having at the wedding. They
Yes.
said that they're not serving alcohol. They're not going to have any kind of meats or vegan. So I just gave my take on it. I didn't drag them, but I also was like, okay. So one of the relatives on Instagram went at me in the comment, like,
Uh,
you don't even know these people, you weren't invited, so why do you, whatever. So what I do,
yeah.
I wish TikTok allowed us to do this. YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, you can do it. I will pin that comment to the top, and people dubbed it the pin of shame. Um, so
Okay.
because I'm like, listen, if you're gonna come in and comment, now here's the repercussions. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
I pinned her comment, and she had a couple people agree with her, but the majority. Last time I checked, there has to be 400 comments on her comment,
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's
just
hilarious.
dragging her. So I let everybody else do the work for me. It's like, you
Yeah.
Right.
know, it's almost like remember the movie Stand by Me? Um, when the parts where he drank the castor oil and he threw up in a pie eating contest,
Yes.
and he just sits back and he just admires it. That's how I feel when I do like a pin of shame, and people are just I'm like, let's sit back. So
Yeah. It's great engagement too. It's like, thank you
yeah,
for the engagement.
Hmm.
'Cause here we go. Now, through all this growth on social media, have you experienced any new opportunities that from the social media growth itself, from your videos and things you that were unexpected come from it?
yeah, yeah. So after Laffy Taffy, like I said, up until then, Laffy Taffy was the biggest opportunity. Um, and so I got. I'm trying to think when this was. Yeah, this was. So then I get an email. I remember I was telling you guys about this earlier before we went on. I get an email from a producer of the Maya Bialik podcast. Maya Bialik wants to talk to me. Maya Bialik was Blossom. She was
Right.
Amy on Big Bang Theory. I was like, holy shit.
Right.
I was out. I called my wife. I'm like, I'm gonna be talking to Maya Bialik. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. So I emailed him back. I said, absolutely. He goes, okay, we'll send you, like you guys, send you availability. We'll talk more. Look through the email because he's like, hey, Dan, we love your whole Gen X stuff. I think if Maya, is a fan, or she'll really. So me and him were going back and forth. And he said, well, what it's going to be is it's going to be on her social media account. It would be like a Facebook or Instagram live video. You would jump in, then should be put on all the platforms. We would give you the video so you can use it. I said, okay, great. Because we have compensation as well, whatever. I was like, okay. And so then we were going up to Cooperstown, New York, me and my wife for vacation. And right before we left, we were supposed to have a Zoom call, me and him, to kind of go over stuff. And he goes, I got to cancel a family emergency in the hospital. My antenna went up a little. Like, okay, things happen. So then I started Googling. I told my wife, I go, I don't trust this. Something's off. But yet, everything he was talking to me about, he had all of our social medias at the bottom. He had his title, segment producer. Get up to Cooperstown. We're watching the World Series. It was the year Yankees played the Dodgers, and
Mm.
we're watching. It was that if you're a Yankee fan, it was the game where Garrett Cole didn't cover first. The Yankees lost the game. It was a heartbreak game for Yankee fans like us. Right before that happened, I was following Maya Bialik just to kind of get an idea what her show was like, and she posted, "It's been made. We've been made aware that someone is posing as the producer for the show. We have no affiliation with
Mm.
this person." I looked at my wife. I went, "I got scammed." Now, luckily, he didn't get money from me because when, like I said, he was going to offer me money, he says we have a couple payouts, however you want it. I could do a check, a routing, and I would never do that in a million years. We have Venmo, we have something
Right.
else. I said, let's do Venmo. And I think that's what. Then I couldn't get a hold of him after that. That he was
Mm.
banking on me saying, let me do a check transfer, and that's how he would get my information. they can't just say we'll just do check because that's too. They have to give you the options, and hopefully you'll say check. And if you don't move on. So I was crushed. To be honest with you, I was like, that sucks. 3 days
Yeah.
later,
That's
well,
crazy.
and that's why like when you guys reached out to me, this is why I do this with everybody now. I get 95% of my email about podcasts or spam. So I will reach out, I will find the person on Instagram, whatever, and I'll say, hey, I'll screenshot the email. I'll say I received this today.
Yeah.
Is this legitimate? If it is, let me know. Most of the time they don't
Yeah.
even get back to me. Sometimes they're like, that's not from our team. 3 days after we got home from Cooperstown, I get an email. Hey Dan, I'm a my name's Ken. I'm a producer for America's Funniest Videos. We saw your video. We'd like to use in an upcoming show. Please reach out. I'm like, give me a freaking break. Again? Already?
This guy's moved on.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. So, but then I was reading his email, and again, it seemed legit. I'm like, whatever. So he goes, you want to do a phone call? I'm like, okay, phone call. You can't get nothing from a phone call. Turns out it was legitimate. So
That's awesome.
America's Funniest Videos, back in the 90s, they did America's Funniest People. It was a spin-off show that they had for a few years.
Right.
They were bringing it
Right.
back as a test for one show. And long story short, I know it's a long story already, but long story short, um, I was on the show, America's Funniest People, with other creators from social media. I ended up winning the episode. My
Which video was it?
It was called Clues I'm Getting Old. I do a lot of those videos. Like it's hard to pick, like I said, I'll recycle some of my jokes, but like the jokes were, I have to make sure my arm has to be in a certain position before I fall asleep, so I'll have full use of it the next day. It's jokes like that.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
But I know, well, it's
but
good
it's
because
true.
it's all true.
Yeah, no,
Right.
that's the brilliance of comedy.
So they played mine. It was up against me and this other guy in the finals. And I'm like talking to you guys on a laptop, they're in California, I'm in Jersey, but it's live. Alfonso Ribeiro's the host, and Allison Hannigan from American Pie.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Okay, here are the two final," and the studio audience voted, not the people watching, because it was taped. It wasn't live on TV. So then, my wife is behind the laptop filming me on our cell phone. I'm like, I just want a record of this. So it goes, okay. He goes, the winner of the grand prize is Clues I'm Getting Old, submitted by Dan Regan. And all of a sudden, you just see the look on my face. I didn't think I was going to win. My wife goes, and I had never cursed. This is the first time I cursed on video, but my wife goes, holy fucking shit, like that on the video. She's holding it. And I'm like, please, I hope they didn't hear that. So now I won. That was a week before Thanksgiving. The show didn't air till June. So I had to sit on this
wow.
Knowing, and I told no one, nobody. Me and my wife knew, that was it.
Oh,
so when I was promoting it, people are like, "Oh, is it going to be live?" I said no. I think I said yes. I think I had to sign. Obviously, I had to sign an NDA. So I think I said, "Yeah, it's live, this and that." So the night it aired, me and her were watching it, and they announced that I won. Next thing you know, my phone is just blowing up. Texts, phone calls.
Yeah.
And I wasn't taking many because I just wanted to kind of like take it in, just share it with my wife. So that was the biggest to this day. As far as career wise, that's the biggest thing that's happened to me was winning America's Funniest.
That's so cool.
That is cool.
That's so cool. Did you get to meet Allison Hannigan and Alfonso Ribeiro?
I didn't get to meet him, but I talked to him. Like I'm talking to you guys through the laptop.
Yeah.
She asked me. She goes, "What are you gonna do with the $5,000? That's how much I want, $5,000." And I said, I go, well, like I said, that buys a lot of readers, a lot of ibuprofen or something like that. And they both laughed. So I'm like, I made Carlton, and what the hell was her name? And the girl from American Pie laughed. I'm good.
You know who she is? One time at band camp. One time at band camp on American Pie. Remember the redhead? They would say
She's
one.
like a main character.
Yeah, like it would say one time at band camp, and then it'd be this crazy like
Yeah.
sexual
Yeah,
story or
yeah,
something.
yeah. She's like the
That's
main character.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
yeah, but what was her name? He married her. The character they
Was it
got married.
Annabelle
What's her
Flaherty or
name?
something? Annabelle Flaherty, I think, or something like that.
It's not
I like her.
Annabelle. It's not no, but you're close.
Something like
It's
that.
gonna come to
I yeah, it's well, and the
it's something
famous
like that,
line,
but yeah.
her famous quote was like, Jim is drinking, and up until then, she would always say, "This one time at band camp, we switched
Yeah.
instruments and we played them, and it was so cool." It was like this lane.
Yeah.
Then the one time she goes, "This one time at band camp, I shoved a flute up my," and he spit
Yes.
out his drink because it was like
Yeah.
that came out of nowhere.
Yes.
So
That's funny.
It's
yes,
awesome. It's and then
It's actually a
Alfonso.
great
Do
movie.
you remember the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the
Yeah.
show?
Yeah.
Do you remember his brother who would do the dance? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That's Alfonso Ribeiro.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
That's cool.
very so what year was that?
that was God, last year. Not this past,
Yeah.
not
Not
this
too
June
long
that
ago.
just passed,
Yeah.
last June, 20,
Okay.
25.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so you have the social media is taking off and you have situations like this where you're participating in the show. Are you still doing stand up during this time? Because that's a lot.
Now I retired from stand up because I had promoters reaching out to me like they always did to do shows, um, and I honestly I kind of lost, not I don't want to say I lost my passion for it, but I was just focused on social media so much, and I was putting so much into social media every day. So I said it's not fair to keep saying no to people. So I just made a post on Facebook one day. I said excuse me, I'm stepping back from doing stand up. I made a lot of great connections with everybody. Thank you so much. I said, I'm not saying never, but for the foreseeable future, I'm just going to concentrate on social media. And I don't regret it. Do I miss it sometimes? Sure. Like when I do watch certain stand-up comedians still that I want to see. Like if a friend of mine's on there, like I'll watch his stuff or her stuff. But like if I watch it, I'm like, yeah, I do miss that instant reaction. That because doing it on a
Yeah.
video,
Yeah.
even though I'm getting the comments, I don't see the faces. I don't see what's going on. So I miss it, but not
Right.
enough to bring me back. I'm having way too much fun doing what I'm doing. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. But it is a very different experience. I don't know, the way social media has taken off though, you can definitely feel connected to your followers. It's different than stand
yeah.
up for sure, 'cause it's not that instant reaction, but it's way more vast. You're able to reach so many more people with social media around the world, you know.
Well,
It's like,
that's why I tell people it's I could reach so many more people that I could ever do doing
yeah,
stand up. And another thing is travel. As I'm getting older, that's
Yeah.
the big thing. Like when
yes,
I was first doing stand up, I was working a regular job. I would go down to the Laugh House in Philadelphia every once in a night to do open mics. I did that for 2 years, all off and on, 2 years. Sometimes I wouldn't go until after midnight for 3 minutes on stage time, and I have to come home, be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to my other job. Never complained because this is what I want to do. And there are people doing it today that they're grinding, and
yeah,
but now, like I would go down to Philadelphia, to go do 10 minutes at a bar, and I would look forward to it. The thought of doing that now is just not appealing to me anymore. And that's no
yeah,
shade on the
Grind.
comedians who do that, because if the passion's
Yeah.
there, go for it. My passion is social media because I feel like I can reach more people. And considering what my stuff is now, it plays better on social media anyway than the world stage, I think. So that's,
yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And you just started your merch line too, right? Recently?
yes, I did. Yeah.
That was just like what, a month or two ago, I think?
Yeah, about 2 to 3 months ago, I didn't really was gonna do it, and then somebody's like, you got to start making shirts that say there it is, hey Gen X, just you know, just merch. And I was like, all right, well, worst that happens is nobody buys it. It's like it's not like I'm producing it, I'm putting money out. It's a drop shipment situation where if you order it, they make it and they ship it out to the person. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a
Yeah.
shot. And I've been successful with that. I'm grateful for that. That people are, and that's another thing. Again, I can't believe people are. I see if someone buys a T-shirt, like someone's wearing me on their shirt. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
But it's the same thing as when the bands you like and buying a band shirt, they feel that same way. It's that connection.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. Very, very cool. I do have to ask you, you have your dog on with you off and on, your little baby.
Mhm.
How old? It's a girl, right?
She's a girl. Oh, she's all girl.
Yeah, last time I saw a video with her, she had her little necklace on, and you were reading her report card from doggy daycare.
Hmm.
What's her name again?
Her official name is Mocha, but we call her Moki.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Now,
And
and
how
like I
old is
said,
she?
she is going to be in August 7th.
7. Okay. She doesn't look 7. She looks very young.
She doesn't act
Whatever you guys
7.
are doing.
She
Yeah.
doesn't act 7. I even said to her, I'm like, when are you going to start to slow down? I'm not saying slow down, just energy wise, just take it down a notch a little bit because she is. But
Yeah.
then the day that it happens, it's gonna tear at me. I know it is. So
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
upset with me. She's upset with me now because it's crazy how she knows this. Saturdays and Sundays are totally dedicating to her because me and my wife are both home, and uh, like when I was setting all this up, she saw me getting ready. She goes into the other room and pouts because she knows, like, all right,
Yeah.
Oh
he's
my
not paying
God.
attention to me. Well, she's a serial licker. She will lick you to like if you have any exposed skin, she will lick it. I know it's like a
Yeah.
calming thing for her as well, but
Yes.
and she will give me her paw whenever I ask. When we're going, I can't even say the word. When we're leaving the house, she will sit on the bed and pout. Now I will come in. I'll put my nose right up against hers. If I do that normally, I will get a bath. When we're
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
she will not even stick her tongue out once. She's like, "No, you're not getting that."
Oh
Oh.
my God. That's hilarious.
Talk
So
about a brat.
conditional.
Ugh. And I'm like, "Do I get
What
a
kind?
paw?" And she'll be like, "Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?" I won't get a paw either.
She's a little diva.
Yep.
What kind of dog is she? Is she a pity?
She definitely is pit. I think she's pit, and I see a little bit of boxer in her. We got her
Mm.
in a situation. She was in a bad situation. And I don't mean like her well being. Just her owner passed away, um, and
Mm.
they didn't know what was going to happen with her. And we just put our dog before her down, like a month prior, and or 2 months prior,
Mm.
and we weren't ready. Honestly, we thought we were. We tried to foster to adopt, and we just, you know, he was like my soul dog. The dog. I mean, she's a different dog altogether. She's wheeled away my heart as well. Don't get me wrong. Um, but when we heard her situation and we met her, I'm like, how am I going to say no to that face? What's
Yeah.
going to happen to her? So, and we don't regret it
She's
at all.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
No,
She's
she's
so,
beautiful, and you can tell she has such a personality. It definitely
uh,
comes through even through the video.
yeah. Like, she does this thing where I don't know if this is going to be funny to anybody else. It's funny to me and my wife. Every night around 7, 8 o'clock, if we're watching one of our shows, whatever, watching a game, 7, 8 o'clock, that's her playtime. She knows it. She will get up out of a sound sleep, get on the ground, and just stare at me and my wife. And if we ignore her, she does the thing. She will then grab my wife's slippers. My wife's slippers are in front of her on the floor. She'll grab one of her slippers and toss it, and then just stare at my wife like what, like it's insane. Like we crack up every night she does. We purposely ignore
That's
her
hilarious.
to see what level she's going to go to.
She has
And
her little tantrum.
some nights she's full on brat where she'll go after my wife's slippers, then she attacks mine, then she'll start biting the blanket that's on the ottoman and like pulling it. Like, oh yeah, I got a video of one night just so people can see it. It's crazy.
That's funny.
There are family. There's no question. We had 3 dogs, and then in March I lost my soul dog.
I'm
But
sorry.
we still have 2. Thank you. But we've always had dogs together in our marriage. We've had 7 dogs total. We are
Oh
such
wow.
dog people, but they are
We stagger them
they're our
because
babies.
when you lose one, you've got to have another one in the bullpen.
That's what
Yeah.
you say. I'm
Yeah.
not ready. Like we still have the 2, but I'm not ready. It's
But their
hard though.
ages are staggered, so the
Yeah, yeah.
expectation would be
Yeah.
we'll deal with it.
It's hard, but unless people are dog people or have had a soul dog, they don't understand, you know?
Yeah, and I had a dog growing up, and I thought she was my soul dog, but our last boy, Trooper, whose name I called him Troop, um, he was a pity mastiff. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I don't think I have a picture readily available. Just one of the. I'll have to I'll have to show you. His head was almost my size. Like he was just
I
Yeah,
believe
sure.
it.
he was massive. Um, he was a rescue as well. The biggest baby, the biggest mush. Um, the day he became my soul dog was this is when I was going through my panic issues. I was going through a little dark time back in like around 2017, 2018. And I was sitting there and I just couldn't, I had my head in my hands, like, cause I was getting overwhelmed. My wife wasn't home. He was sound asleep on the couch. All of a sudden, I feel my arms spread. He put his head in between my arms and he put his nose up against mine and just sat there. And I was crying because I was going through some stuff. And he didn't move. I don't know. It was a few minutes. And then I was done. And I'm like, thanks, boy. I love you. I needed that. Went back on the couch, back to sleep. My wife came home and I told her what happened. I said, that freaking dog's my soul dog now. Everywhere I went after that, he was so good in the car. He would go with me if I was running, just get my prescription, he went everywhere with me.
Yeah.
He was gone way too soon. He was in a bad situation before we got him, as far as like I think he was abused. Um, how anyone could abuse him was like I don't know. I mean, this dog was like pure love. So we lost him too early. So that's when I told my wife. I said, I'm not ready. It's gonna take me a while. And I always thought the same thing. I need a dog right after just to kind of fill that void, but I couldn't after
Yeah.
him. But then Mocha came along,
I'm
and
so
I'm like,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. But I think everybody should have that soul dog in their life because it's just you love all dogs, all cats, all your pets, but having that soul that they call it, it's different. It's just completely different.
It is. It
Our
is.
last dog was like that for everybody. His
Yeah.
name, by the way, was Floyd after Pink Floyd.
Yes.
That's how we
Oh,
named him.
awesome.
Yeah, it was after
That's a great
He
name.
was everybody's bulldog in the house.
And
Yeah.
your wife would appreciate this. Our other dog, she's a Basset Dachshund mix.
Mhm.
Her full name is Stella Blue, which is a Grateful Dead song, but we
Yes,
call her Stella. But
Stella
she's named
Blue.
after a Grateful Dead song, Stella
That's
Blue.
great.
So now Brian asked you about music. What movie from our childhood would you say was your favorite or your comfort movie? The one you go to?
My favorite eight. My favorite. Me and my wife were just talking about this last week as well. My favorite '80s movie, hands down, is Breakfast Club
Yeah. Me too.
because
Yes.
a close second. I don't know if you can see it. A close second is this one. Save the Clock Tower from Back to the Future.
It's Back to the Future, right.
That's
Yes.
that's a
Back to the
close
Future is
second.
awesome.
Yeah, but
Yes.
Breakfast Club because it's so many layers. Why it's my favorite because we lived that, the cliques in school.
Mhm.
You resonated with one of those characters. I don't care who you were. One of them was you. Maybe not 100% you, but
Yep.
you could definitely relate to one of those characters. Um, it was funny, emotional. It dealt with real issues. The soundtrack was amazing. And think
Yep.
about it, you know, there was the five of them, Vernon and the janitor, seven characters in an entire movie. That's all they needed.
Yep.
It was perfection.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And even if, in a way, you can kind of relate a little to each of them
That's
too.
what I was going to say. Yeah.
You know, you could
Mhm.
find yourself inside each of them.
Yep.
But you're right, it represented us to a T and how we felt. And I love the dancing scene
Hmm.
because we would go on that ride, right? Of, the deep emotional dives down and then
Yep.
just that release of the dance. John Hughes was brilliant, hands down, but that movie especially, I think is his swan song. I mean, that movie, there's just something about it. So,
I agree.
totally relatable. I don't know if I've ever asked you that question
My favorite movie?
from that time from
I
our
was just
past
thinking, I
lives.
think it's Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, it is. That's right. I know that.
And that's such a shallow movie,
No, it's a great
but
No,
movie.
it's
that's a
just
great.
pure. I love Jackie Gleason and
Yes.
the whole cast I thought was
Hmm.
It's a great
just
movie.
funny.
It's a great
Funny.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Smokey and the Bandit.
My
Before I
most underrated movie, and this will probably you'll probably you might agree because of Smokey the Bandit. Cannonball Run is my favorite
Yes.
underrated movie of all
100%.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
That doesn't get the love it
Yes.
deserves. It
I
deserves so much
agree.
love.
Like Dom DeLuise in that and
Oh, it's
just
the
everybody, quite
the
frankly. Yeah.
comedic timing.
Yeah.
Dom DeLuise is
Sammy
another.
Yep.
Davis and who
Yeah.
was the other guy with him? Was that Dean
Dean
Martin?
Martin.
Dean
Dean
Martin.
Martin.
Just the
I
yeah.
think they were drunk for real through that
Oh,
whole
no
movie.
doubt.
Oh, without a doubt.
There's a
And
twist.
Martinez.
and what's great about that movie, it had so many stars, and I think they all waived their
Hmm.
salaries because there's no way you were going to be able to pay all those stars. I think they all waived their
Yeah.
Oh
salaries
yeah.
and just did it for scale, which was
Yeah.
great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. We tried to find it. I tried to rent it a couple months ago, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I could find Cannonball Run 2, which I watched, and it was
Yeah.
Not
like,
nearly as good.
but
No.
I couldn't find it. I have to see
Yeah.
if it's become available, but it's not readily available.
Which is odd.
Did you watch the No, go ahead.
No, good, good.
I was just gonna say, did you used to watch The Honeymooners as a kid?
I watched them. I was never. I don't want to say a huge fan. I wasn't a fan. Like I I watched them, but I wasn't like that was like my show growing up. My buddy
Yeah.
Yeah.
is me and him argue about this because I mean, he's a honeymooners ride or die guy. So like on purpose, I will say, yeah, it's not like I guess it's
Yeah.
not the honeymooners, right? Like I'll just like tweak them. I love Jackie Gleason though, and it was funny.
Yeah.
I was just never that was never my go-to show. The honeymooners growing up.
Would you watch Johnny Carson? Being that you like Joan, were you into Johnny?
I was until I mean I still watched him, but after he screwed her over with the Tonight Show, that really bothered me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
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 They
she
say he
was
was an asshole, actually.
Really?
But
oh
yeah, I've heard really
huge,
bad things about him.
huge.
Yeah.
From what I
He was
understood,
such just a raging prick from what I've heard. Yeah.
well, and like Howard Stern always talked about this, and I agree. Howard never liked the fact that he control like when he had a comedian on, if he waved you over to the chair, that was an honor, like you're
Yes.
begging baptized. And
Yeah.
Howard's like, screw him. Like, it's like he can make
Yeah.
or break a comedian's career. Like, I don't want to say screw him for that, but I get it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
I know when you're a comedian, you do a set. I don't know. He should have called them all over just to kind of give them like
I
Yeah,
agree.
totally.
I agree.
you're having them on your show already, so there's obviously something you like about them. It's not like it's an audition.
Yeah.
So why not just bring them all
Yeah.
over and give them the publicity kind of thing?
It's
So I
such
didn't
a
like
power
that.
trip.
I didn't
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
What was your show?
Uh, well, see, the thing was, even back then, I was nostalgic. I wouldn't watch shows from that. Like, I love Gilligan's Island, Brady Bunch,
Mm,
um, like the shows that were before my time. I wasn't even alive yet.
Mm.
I guess if I had to pick a show, I'm trying to think. I never even thought about that because, well, I watched this every Saturday night with my grandmother. It was Love Boat. Always watch Love Boat.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Um,
Did you watch Fantasy Island afterwards?
did watch Fantasy Island as well. I remember watching Love Boat one night. I even brought this up to my grandmother when I got older. I remember on one of the episodes, this guy and this woman were kissing, and they opened their mouth, and I went, "Why are they kissing with their mouths open like that?"
Mm.
And she goes, my grandmother didn't know what to say. She goes, when adults get older, I'm like, that's gross. I'm never gonna do that. It's like little things like that. Like
Yeah.
she had to kind of. That's why we said being raised by your grandparents had its advantages because you can get things over on them, say we'll go to bed early, whatever. But then also had its disadvantages because they didn't do the birds and the bees talk thing. I guess because they were old
Yeah.
school. They did. So I never got
Right.
that.
Mhm.
And that's one of my best bits I did on my stand up sets was I did a whole thing about how I never got to talk about the birds and the bees, so I had to kind of wing it on my own. I talk about the first time I was with
Right.
the woman. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So, but yeah, so
That's fun.
I would say Love Boat, and then late '80s I started watching like Growing Pain, like Family Ties. I liked a lot. That was a big
Yeah.
one.
Forgot about
Happy
that. Yeah.
Happy Days was I was a huge
I like
fan
Yeah.
of.
Happy Days. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Now, I think that Love Boat night, I feel like wasn't that Chip's Love Boat Fantasy Island? I feel
I was
like
it
going to
made
say
that's,
we did watch it a few weeks ago or a month or two ago.
yeah, I mean, maybe I'm off on Chips, and maybe it would, I feel like it was Chip's Love Boat Fantasy Island, but I could be off.
I don't know.
I
I'm
settled in
thinking
though.
I remember, unless I'm wrong, that Chips was on Sunday, but maybe I'm wrong. You
No, I
could be
feel
right
like you're
though.
right. No,
You could
because
be right.
I wondered that if Chips
Well,
was on
Sunday was
Sundays.
like the Waltons, Mutual of Omaha, Kirby, the
I didn't
Yeah,
watch the
Volkswagen Bug, and
Waltons. I found the
then the mountain guy,
Waltons were boring. Oh, I liked Grizzly Adams. I
Grizzly
liked
Adams. That's
Grizzly
it.
Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Grizzly
I thought
Adams.
the Waltons were boring. Yeah, Grizzly
See,
Adams. All right,
I
before I
like
ask, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so now you're bringing back. I watched That's Incredible. That was a big one back in the day.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And
and
which
there was
one?
another. The one Burgess Meredith, her Real People. I think Burgess Meredith hosted it.
Yes, yes,
That was on
yes. I
Sundays as
forgot
well, I
about that
believe.
show.
Yeah, Real
That's
People.
right. And I totally forgot about That's Incredible.
Yeah.
Remember
Totally.
when they would do like Battle of the Stars
Oh yeah,
and
Battle
they would
Network
have people
Stars.
from different shows? Yeah, Battle Network Stars.
Yep, I
Yes,
still
I
love
forgot.
that.
You remember that?
I don't. I remember the title, but I can't picture it.
It's like different stars from shows would then do like obstacle course things and they'd
We
be on
honestly
teams.
grew up when TV was awesome
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
was innocent and it was creative and it was like underproduced,
Yep.
right?
And
Compared to
you
today.
got multiple episodes. You get like 30 episodes,
Yeah.
35
Mhm.
episodes, 40 episodes in a season. And then you got reruns in the summer. And then it would start, you were on a schedule where now you get 8 episodes and 2 years later you get 8 more episodes. Like it's crazy how it is now. So we
Well,
actually got a lot
It's
of
just too
quantity,
much.
yeah.
I think it was the best time.
Well, that was the video I did once about Gilligan's Island because this is something that shocked almost as much as Kurt Loder. Gilligan's Island was only on for 3 seasons.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
amazing.
And what
It
an
feels like,
impact it made.
yeah, it felt like, and I know the joke is I've seen 700 episodes of that show. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
because
But
back then they did like 50 episodes, like the Honeymooners. I think it was one season, I think, right, or two, 1 or 2 seasons. I think that was it for the Honeymooners.
No way.
really?
Wow. I would
If
never
you
have
look at,
guessed that.
it's either 1, 2 at the most. 2 seasons of the Honeymooners.
Wow.
Each season was like 50 episodes or whatever it was back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Yeah, and that's to the point of how many episodes you would get is because Gilligan's Island was only 3, but you're right, you could watch and Brady Bunch, though, I think that was more.
Brady
But
Bunch, I
Brady
think, was
Bunch
6 or 7.
right.
6 or
But
7,
still,
yeah.
you could watch Brady I feel like I watched Brady Bunch my whole childhood and
Hmm.
rarely
I
got a
feel like I
rerun.
watched them all
Yep.
my whole
Yeah,
childhood. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you can't say that now. Okay, before I ask my last question, do you have any more
I
questions?
was going to go
Okay,
back to a random one. You
okay.
went to Stokes, and did you
Yes.
wind up staying there the all 3 nights? Did you square dance?
I square danced, and I don't know if it was what it was like for your school, but every year we alternated because they had the cabins, then they had the lodges where the kids could stay.
Mm.
So our year we were in the cabins, so it was like the military barracks. We just had bunk beds
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the way throughout. Um, so we did square dancing the one night in that big auditorium or hall wherever they had. Uh, they did they told ghost stories. I know one of our
Mm-hmm.
teachers was like famous in our school for telling a great ghost story. That's what that's what you waited for. He did it on Thursday night, the last night. He told a ghost story, and I forget what it was, but it was good. It definitely spooked us. I mean, we're 6th grade, so but he was a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
storyteller too. Um, but yeah, we did square dancing. I remember we did. I remember the food. The food was actually pretty good. I remember it wasn't bad from what I remember. Um, we did stay all 3 nights, but I was homesick, like I always was, and I just wanted to go home.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm done. I don't
We
like
did
camping.
we did the Stokes trip. And what's the funny part for me is my neighbor, my best friend who was older than me, his dad was the square dance caller. So
Okay.
what, I did it in 6th grade, but then we'd go up there when he was doing square dancing and we'd take a boat out in those lakes and go fishing at night.
Were you not supposed
Oh
to?
wow.
Not really.
No.
Not really, but his dad called their square dance. That was his thing forever.
That's funny you
That's
guys
awesome.
square dance. What
So
did
I'm
you
saying it's a small world.
What'd you guys call it? Because in Oregon it was called outdoor school. We went for a week.
It was just Stokes. We're going to Stokes.
Okay, ours
Just
was
going to
called outdoor
Stokes. Yep.
school.
Right? You guys call
That,
it. Yeah.
that was it.
Listen,
Did your school do peak?
Did what?
Did you guys do peak in 8th grade, which is the Poconos Environmental Education Center?
We did not. No. That we didn't
Okay.
do.
is that a
No.
similar thing?
We did that in 8th. I don't know because I got sent home after the first night.
Why would you do?
We were outside of our cabin in the middle of the night, just fucking around.
Of course, shocker.
I
Brian
had to go back
off
to
all
school
these.
and it kind of sucked.
Yeah, they had to be in school.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions?
I don't think so. I've got a lot. I really appreciate, you spent a lot of time with us. It's really interesting. I was hoping you were still doing comedy because then we could go see you. If you ever
Yeah.
do, let us know and we'll
definitely
sit in
will.
the front row and yeah.
Well, hopefully he
Yeah.
would announce it too on
Yeah,
socials.
obviously.
We'd
Yeah.
see
Well,
it,
I
but-
want to,
I have an idea that I reached out to somebody a friend of mine, and it's not going to happen for like at least a year or two. But I have an idea that I might be coming back on stage again, because like I said earlier, how the stuff I do now wouldn't resonate on stage. Well, back then I would, but I think now my idea is that I could do what I do now, but do it on a stage, kind of have a screen and maybe react to videos on the screen live in front of me, while also telling jokes.
Mm.
Like I got some ideas, so
yeah,
that's in the
no,
works.
it's cool.
That's in the works.
I can
We'll
see
see
that
what
working.
happens.
We've got 2 venues if you come down here.
Yeah.
The Boca
Okay.
Black Box and then that place in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, it's no one comes way down here. We're in Boca Raton, so we're
Yeah.
way south.
Yeah,
Like just
It's nice in January though when you're freezing your butt off
Yes,
up there.
that's true.
I'm sure it
That's
is. I'm sure it is. Be calling you guys. Calling you guys
So-
in January. You got spare space for a little bit.
always.
And you notice
Okay.
you notice I do the phone, like we do the phone thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah, you did. We didn't even blink.
No, that's what you do.
no, you
Yeah.
did it too. You went like that. You're like, yeah, call us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Our kids have no idea.
No.
None. What that is,
Nope.
they have none.
Nope.
The idea of calling, first of all.
I don't even know their
Exactly.
phone numbers.
Oh, you don't?
No, they're my contacts.
Okay. Well,
Exactly.
I'm the mom, I guess. Well, I know.
Yeah.
My last question is always, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Uh, Hopefully still doing this, talking to you guys, just because this is honestly for me, this is the best time right now for me professionally is right now. I'm doing what I love. It's not work. It's never worked for me. Um, so honestly, just keep doing this, and just hopefully just making people laugh. That's my goal. So yeah, I really don't see myself like I try to set goals for myself, but I've hit a lot of those goals. I have more, but the biggest goal is just to be here 5 years and just continue just to entertain.
It's a great goal. That's a great. I love what you just said. How you've made goals. You've hit all those goals. It's a pretty powerful statement right there to say. A lot of people can't say that. So
Yeah,
congratulations
Yeah.
to be able to
thank you.
even say that statement. Huge.
I
That's huge. So um,
I've done comedy in New York, hit that. I've been on TV, hit that. That's the one that really that when I was on America's Funniest People, I remember telling my grandmother when I was a kid, I said, I'm going to be on TV one day. And she goes, I know you will be. So my only regret is she wasn't here. And I know people say, no, she was. She saw it. And I get it, but that's the one, I wish she was here to say it. Um,
yeah.
so, I mean, like I said, I have more goals. Now I'm setting newer goals, but the ones I set out, I've hit them. And I'm very grateful for everybody, for people like you guys reaching out to me, bringing me in, giving me the time, the platform. I appreciate it. I'm very grateful to everybody for everything I have.
Well, it was our absolute pleasure to have
Yeah.
you. And I think this is going to be such a treat for your followers and your fans to get this long form access to you, but also for our listeners that are new to you to get to discover you. And some of the things you spoke about during the episode, I know it's going to help some people feel seen, especially talking about men's mental health. Again, like I don't think that has enough of a voice,
Yeah,
and I think it's so important that you continue to weave that in with your content somehow, and serve in that way. So I know just that segment alone is going to affect some people. But then I'm always just so impressed. Oh, there she
Oh, big
is.
guy. Yeah.
There
my
she is.
my wife just got home, so she's barking at my wife.
Of course. Of course. We welcome all dog sounds. We love dog sounds. So that's not getting edited out.
Yeah.
But oh, I can hear
Hey,
her.
Yeah,
girl.
no kidding. She sounds excited.
Oh yeah, she just came in. She
Tell
came in
your
with her bone.
Oh, I love it.
That's funny.
I love it. That's wonderful. No, but just and then I'll let you go so you can give her her lovins.
No
But
problem.
just to see other Gen X peers going for their passions, betting on themselves, doing the non-normative thing,
Hmm.
taking that chance. It's such a great example for others in our generation to do it because we weren't really given the space or encouraged to live outside the box and to get too big for our britches. We were told, don't get too big for your britches, and we were shushed. So I think at this point in our lives, to see others going for it, it motivates our generation to take that leap, take that chance.
Yeah,
And it's just an inspiring to others. So I think, you make people laugh and that it's a wonderful thing and you change people's daily lives, but you're also inspiring your peers to have the courage to maybe take that step in whatever it is that they've always wanted to do. So just you sharing your story could maybe affect even one person to have the courage to say, okay, I'm going to go do that thing. So thank you for taking the time to be so candid with us and spend this time with us because it's a lot of time. We know that.
no, and but like I said, I had a blast. I can't believe it didn't seem like it's been. I'm looking at the time, but I can't believe even this much time went by because I had fun. I
Yeah.
really did. It was really great
Good.
talking
I'm
to you guys.
glad. I'm
Yeah, same
glad.
for
No,
us.
it was awesome. And for our listeners, for Dan's fans, you already know where to find him. But if this is your first time hearing about Dan, we will have everywhere you can find him in the show notes. Again, Dan Regan Comedy on social media. Please feel free to leave any questions or comments for Dan. He'll see them. And as of course, we always love to hear from you. So please leave us any questions or comments. And again, thank you, Dan, for your time and your story. And we loved having you on.
Thank you guys so much for having me again. I've really had a great time.
We did too. And listeners, we will see you next time. Bye.